All right, we are recording. Welcome to episode 2 of the Pro Baduk Go Weiqi podcast thingy. Uh, as usual, we have Mr.
Gaza.
Gaza on the line, and of course, I'm Xiao Dai. And we're gonna go through another week of professional Baduk Go Weiqi, whatever you want to call it. What have we got this week, Gaza?
It
First,
was a pretty good week. There were a lot of games again this week. There were some Japanese games. Probably the biggest, most interesting event was the Asian Games qualification tournaments for the Chinese team.
yep,
But also in Korea, the big event was the LG Cup qualification, which
yep,
started this week.
yep, yep. And there's a couple of other things going on, but let's just go through them. But like, okay, we're probably not gonna go through it round by round, right? For the Asian Games, qualification tournament because for the women's they went into stage 2 and there's like 14 rounds in it, and for the men there's like 10 rounds, So,
That's right.
yeah, so let's have a look at the field of players. This is the women's field. It's a strong field. So Yu Ziying, I guess she's widely considered kind of number 2 in the world in terms of women players at the moment.
Yeah, pretty much only Choi Jong is arguably
Yeah,
stronger than her.
and of the 2 international women's titles, Senko Cup and Woohyung Cup or Goseikan Cup, they hold one each.
Well, actually, that's not true anymore.
Oh yes, that's right.
Yu Ziying does not hold the Senko Cup anymore,
Yeah, and
um,
she got beat
as we
by
reported last week.
Yueno Asami actually.
But she's still in terms of overall strength, she's still widely regarded as top
Yeah,
two
yeah.
women player in the world.
Yeah, for sure. And just looking at her rating, so the field, of course, it's Yu Ziying. You see where she ended up in the field. It's a double round robin of 8 players, so 14 games in total. You see where she ended up by the end of this. And of course, Ming. She's less well known, but very very young player. I believe less than 18. She might have just been, and her rating might be just really underrated because she's done really well in this tournament.
Right.
Yeah. And Lee He, of course, she was, as you mentioned last time, she won an international title.
Yeah, she won the
Yeah,
Bingsheng Cup
yeah,
many years ago.
yeah,
But yeah, very very strong player.
yeah. And Lu Minchuan, she's not mentioned very often, but she definitely is a very strong player in China, for sure.
Yeah, definitely has done well. I think in domestic tournaments in
Yeah,
China.
and she might be one of the top 4 in China by the Chinese official ratings. So she was seeded into this league.
Right.
Yeah, and Chen Yiming, just again not a big name, but she's strong enough. Zhou Hongyu, widely considered kind of almost like the second strongest female player, although she had a pretty terrible qualification for Goseikan Cup potentially. I think it might have been that, and she didn't make it.
Isn't she a former winner of the Go Sagan
She
Cup?
did she did win the edition before last. Yeah,
Wow,
she
and now
she yeah.
she hasn't even qualified for one of
Yeah,
the
if I remember correctly, I mean she definitely didn't qualify for one big thing. Might have been that, yeah. Wang Chenxin, of course, a very strong player. Might be former Chinese number 1 in terms of women, and of
Yep,
course
I
the
think so.
legend Ray Nai Wei.
Oh
So,
yeah.
so that's a decent field. Now there's a lot of talk online in the Chinese media about how the whole competition setup is not friendly for Ray, because it's 2 games a day and it's an intense schedule over maybe just over 2 weeks. And
Right.
Ray's about 60 years old. So you can imagine how such a grueling schedule is not that friendly to someone who's a bit more advanced in age. So that might have put her at a bit of a disadvantage.
That's unfortunate, but
Yeah,
not really sure what else you can do
yeah.
with a 14 game
And
schedule.
I think the Asian game might also be a 2 game per day kind of thing, so it's kind of a practice for that.
I think the last one was two
Okay,
games a day.
yeah, then that kind of makes sense. So that might be why. Well, that's the field. So let's when we scroll up, we will see at the end what actually happens to them. Now, of course, the other big one was the uh, LG Cup qualification, but this is not it. This is the Hoban Cup. Can you tell us a bit more about this Hoban Cup Gaza?
Oh yeah, so the Hobart Cup is like a Nongshim Cup, but for women.
Yeah,
So three countries, the three big countries, Korea, China, and Japan, will each have a team of 5 players, and 2 players from different countries will have a game, and the winner continues on,
yeah,
and the loser is out of the event.
yeah,
And then the winning country is whoever has players remaining at the end.
yeah,
So once 2 countries lose all 5 of their players, then the event finishes.
yeah.
So
Um,
sometimes some players, if a country is particularly strong, some players in the team won't play any games at all.
yeah. Yeah, and I think we have covered this. This is just some of the pictures from the competition. Yeah, so yeah, so quite a few of them made the cut, and
Yeah,
of
can
course
we go back
Trojan
to
will be in
with
it.
the three women in it? I think they're the three. Yeah, the bigger picture.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think they're the 3 qualifiers. So on the left is Jin.
yeah,
Um, I think she's a current title holder. I
yeah,
don't know what title she holds at the moment, but I believe she holds at least one, maybe even 2 in women's titles in
yeah,
Korea.
yeah. I think she
In
be
the middle is Hyo Seo Hwin, who has been a promising young player for a while. She's still quite young, and this is actually apparently her first international tournament.
yep,
Um, so that'll be good. And on the right, that is Lee Sol Ju.
right,
Um, she only turned pro last year, so very very new to the scene.
yeah,
And this is sort of her first major, like, significant achievement in her career.
yeah.
Um,
The pro qualification tournament in Korea is so intense that potentially if you're really focused during that tournament, you might be at your strongest almost when you come out of the program than when you like kind of being pro for a while.
right.
And
Also, another thing mentioned in that post is that Kim Chi Young,
yeah,
number 3 women player in Korea, contracted coronavirus. I didn't know that at the time. I think I
yeah,
mentioned last week that she lost,
yeah,
but apparently she didn't even participate.
yeah. So yeah,
Or maybe she had to forfeit her round.
yeah,
Maybe she may have contracted it during the prelim and had to forfeit her round,
yeah.
or
That
something
that
like
that would
that.
have been not that great, but not the end of the world. There's still a wild card to in play.
Yeah, there is still a wild card. Of
Yeah,
course, as I said, there's 5 players. Choi
yeah,
Jong got an automatic spot in the team.
yeah,
So there were qualifiers for 3 more of the other spots, and then the final spot for the
yeah,
Korean team will be a wild card selection. So that could be Kim Chi Young.
yeah.
Um,
Could very well
she,
be.
yeah, she's the highest rated player who's not in the team
Yeah,
already.
yeah,
So it would make sense, but we will see.
yeah. Let's see. All right, just some pictures from the Chinese Asian Games qualification tournament. These pictures kind of get samey after a while, so probably not going to go through
Yeah,
too many of
something
them.
that I did notice from these is that many of the games aren't recorded. Like
No,
there's no recorder or person writing the moves down
no,
next to them.
yeah,
Yeah, that's something that I realized after seeing these pictures and some videos.
yeah,
And I think it was mentioned that only two or three games each round are actually recorded.
Yeah, that's right. You see this phone here? So in the picture, there's like a tripod with a phone attached to it. Those
Yes.
ones are broadcast basically live on Weibo. Yeah, I watched
Yeah.
one of them. It was quite interesting. Yeah,
Yeah. To be fair, the ones that they do broadcast tend to be the most. Well, I mean, they're the most exciting games on paper.
yeah,
Um, so it'll often at the beginning it was typically games with J in them,
yeah,
um, and then towards the end they were broadcasting the games between players who were on the cusp of qualification.
yeah,
So
yeah,
they tended to pick the most exciting games
yeah,
to broadcast, which was good.
yeah. That was good. Um, yeah, there was a joke posted on there.
The less said about these jokes, the better, I think.
Yeah, yeah. Let's just move on. Um,
Okay,
let's
so
get a reminder of the field in the Chinese men's
oh
selection.
yeah, so this was 10 players.
10 players. Yeah, it's a single round robin. Um, yeah. So as you can see here, by this time, about 3 rounds have happened, I believe. Yeah,
Yeah,
round three, because every time you win, you get 2 points. So the field is Yang Dingxin, Fan
yep.
Ting Yu. Now, these top two have achieved something in common. Do you think you can tell us what that might be, Gaza?
So I think both of those players have won 7 straight games in the Nongshim Cup.
That's right.
Ah,
That's
that's
right.
it.
Yeah,
Uh,
and there will be a little bit about them on that in a little bit. Of course, there's a Shaker,
Shekhar,
twice
two-time finalist
finalist in international
in
tournaments.
in internationals.
Um,
Yep.
some would argue that he will be the losing finalist in both, but one is not certain yet. Um,
Right.
and then we got Lien Xiao,
Yeah.
Tojashi,
Yeah.
Keje, Mi Yuting, Li
Koji, of
Shenhao.
course.
Yeah, Keje
Hmm.
is sitting pretty at 6 at the moment after 3 rounds. Uh, Mi Yuting, Li Shenhao. Li Shenhao qualified from the stage one, which was what consisted
Me?
about yeah, Li Shenhao. I believe there was like 15 players, and they played kind of like a Swiss tournament
Oh
kind
yeah,
of
that's
thing,
right. Yeah, no,
and he qualified.
half of these players qualified from
Yeah,
stage one, I
that's
believe.
right. And Ding Hao, of course, ranked number 2 in China, has 3 domestic titles. Gu
Yeah.
Zihao ranked number 3 in China. So number 2 and 3 after 3 rounds were basically sitting bottom. But
One other thing that I want to mention is I believe we said that Li Zhuanhao won his first round game,
right,
um, which turned out to not be correct. It turns out there was a mistake in the reporting,
yeah,
and he actually lost his first round game of this stage. But he still was the player who won all of his games in stage one, right?
yeah, that's right. And
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, that was this error in reporting basically happened on Weibo a couple of times. I've seen on Weibo people complain about it. It was basically Sina, the biggest uh, you know Go reporting site. They just kind of reported the wrong results in their Weibo, and people just corrected them. But that's just what it is.
Yeah, it can be frustrating because sometimes I'll follow live games and there isn't a YouTube or other stream, and I'll just be following them on something like synagogue.com or
Yeah,
19by19.com, and a couple of times that they will actually have the players with the wrong colors. They'll have the colors the wrong way around.
yeah, okay,
So I'll be following the game and I'll think, wow, Koji is really struggling in this game. It looks like he's going to lose, and then all of a sudden they
yeah,
change the colors around, or
yeah.
or you find out after the game that Koji was actually the other color. It's
You,
not that common, but it is quite frustrating when it does happen.
yeah, it's not very professional when that happens. But switching colors, there's an interesting thing that happened to me once. There's a website called Weiqi 101. It's very popular for doing
yes.
go exercises. It's like life and death, Tomego kind of thing. So and they have a function to let you pair up with other players to play. So I don't know for what reason. I just decided, let's just try it. Let's just play with someone on that server for a little bit, and I was just playing, and yeah, I kind of won. At the end, I was winning my game. I was winning, 100% winning, and then all of a sudden, the colors switched. Like I was holding black, but now suddenly I'm holding white, and the position completely reversed. It's completely bizarre. It's like
Wait,
the servers
what?
must.
You were playing the game yourself?
No. I'll play with against someone else.
Yeah, you were playing. You were one of the players.
Yeah. I was playing. I was winning as well, and they just switched the control of my what I was playing to the other color. So I was now in a completely losing position.
What?
It's like the server was hacked, and they're just some kids on there playing games. If they lose, they would just hack the system and make you the other color or something. I don't know what's happened.
That's crazy.
It's completely crazy. So, well, no wonder why no one plays on that server, because crazy shit like that happens. You should experience it yourself. Just try to log in and play a
I've
game
never
on
played
there.
on that server. Maybe I should try it.
Yeah, no, it's completely bizarre.
I mean, with my games, if swapping colors would be good for me.
I'm not so sure about this one. Okay, Korean League postseason. What's happened? Oh my
Oh,
god.
right. So yeah, we discussed this a little bit last week, but
Yeah,
there were 5 teams in the Korean postseason. So
yeah,
first place is Team Hapcheon. Yeah. So as you can see here, it's a stepladder format.
yeah,
So it starts off. Well, let's start. Okay, let's start off with 5th place. So
Yeah.
5th place was Team Celtrion.
yeah,
Actually, they finished 6th. They
Yeah.
actually finished 6th, and they had a playoff with 5th place
yeah,
for the final spot in sort of the finals.
yeah,
So I don't know why they had a 5th versus 6th playoff. It could have been simply because they both finished on 9 wins,
yeah,
and so they decided to have a playoff to determine who would be the 5th spot in the finals. But
yeah,
they did have a playoff, and that was actually, I believe that was really exciting, and it went down to the final game, and
yeah.
Team Celtrion's player, I think, was Kang Seung Min, and I believe he was losing and managed to reverse the game right at the very end.
Yeah.
And
Crazy.
they just managed to win 3-2.
Yeah,
So Team Baduk Mecca, they missed out, and Team Celtrion got the final spot in the playoffs.
yeah,
So the first round of the playoffs was Team Celtrion versus Team Kix. Team Kix finished 4th,
yeah,
and so Celtrion had to beat them twice
Yeah.
without losing,
yeah,
like 2 matches
Yeah.
in a row.
yeah. Otherwise,
And-
Team Kicks would go through. Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah.
Team Kix just needed to win one match
Yeah.
of the 2.
and that's the prize for coming fourth rather than
That's the
sixth,
advantage for
yeah.
coming 4th over the
5 or
spot.
6. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And the matchups in the first round were very favorable to Team Celtrion. Shin Jinso, obviously the best player in Korea, he got paired up with Shin Min-jun, who is the best player on Team Kicks, which is very favorable to Celtrion
yeah.
because Shin Jinso is favored over everyone. So
Well, yeah,
his team would want him to be paired with the strongest player
yeah,
on the other team.
yeah,
And so Shin Jinso won that game. It was a very commanding game if you did end up watching it.
yeah,
Cho Hang-seong, seed number 4 on Team Celtrion, was paired up with Park Min-kyu, who is
Yeah.
the 2nd seed, I believe, on
Right.
Team Kicks.
yeah,
And that was a bit of an upset. Cho Hang-seong actually won that game. And that was a surprise because he only went 6-10 in the regular season.
Oh wow.
So yeah, he hadn't had a great regular season.
Yeah.
And he ended up winning that game. And then the the third game was actually against two players from the B team of each of these
Oh wow. Yeah.
sides. Yeah, Lee Won-do, who's in the B team of Team Selcheon, played Kang Ji-hoon, who's in the B team of Team Kicks. And yeah, in the end, Lee Won-do managed to win that game. And so Team Selcheon actually won 3-0.
Yeah.
So in the playoffs, in the regular season, sorry, for this season at least, all 5 games are played at the same time. They're all 1 hour each, and they all start at the same time.
Right. Yeah.
In the playoffs, only the top 3 boards are played, and then once they're finished, if it's 2-1, then they play board 4.
Right.
And then if board 4 makes it a 2-all draw, then they play board 5.
Yeah.
So they only play the boards 4 and 5 if a team hasn't won yet.
Right.
But yeah, that was
right.
that was
Then okay, I see. So okay, bring out one by one. Okay, yep. So
yeah. So that was the that was a must-win game for Team Silcheon, and yeah, they won it in quite convincing fashion.
But you know, if they bring out 3 boards at once, it makes sense to you know, for Sinjin So to be in one of the first 3, you know, just in case. So it's kind of like
Shinjin So will probably always be one of the first 3.
yeah.
Um,
So if Team Kicks wants to chance it, they could slip, you know, Shin Minjun into the fourth one if they want to risk it, you know, try and get, you know.
yes, they could. It's really difficult to know what sort of strategies should be used.
Yeah.
In these situations, and you do also have to remember that they could put Shin Min-jun on 4th or 5th, and then he doesn't even play.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that's the risk, right? So if you
and then it's like, well, that was you just feel stupid because you didn't even use your top board.
Yeah. Well, and they played again the next day.
Yeah, so since Team Selcheon won, on I think that was on Saturday.
Yeah.
They kept their hopes alive, and there was a rematch on the Sunday. So now this was a sudden death match. Whoever won this match advances.
Yeah.
So shall we go? Are we going to go over that match now? Let's go over
Yeah,
that match.
yeah. Let's have a quick look.
So this again, Lee Won-do, as I said, is on the B team.
Yeah.
For Selcheon, they brought him out on board 1.
Yeah.
And he played Han Sang-hoon.
Yeah.
Who is seed number 3 for 10 Kicks.
Yeah.
And Lee Won-do, I don't remember how this game went, but it was Lee Won-do ended up winning.
Yeah.
So that's quite a big upset, and that's pretty good for Selcheon because that's a huge advantage, because that means they've still got their top 4 players, and they only need 2 wins.
Yeah.
From the remaining 4 boards.
Yeah.
So board 2 was Cho Hang-seong again, number 4 for Team Selcheon against Team Kicks' top player Shin Min-jun.
Yep.
And that went as expected.
Yep.
No surprises there. Shin Min-jun won, I think, quite comfortably.
Yep.
And then, Shinjin So was on board 3 against Kang Seong-jae, who is the 4th seed for 10 Kicks.
Yeah.
And you would expect this to be a simple win for Shinjin So, but it was anything but.
No.
This one was on Baduk TV. All of the playoffs games are going to be on Baduk TV,
Yeah.
which I encourage people to watch. And he was behind for a lot of the game until I think it was like towards the very end, and in the game in the top left corner, there was a group. Kim Sung Jae was black, and
Yeah.
black's group was not yet alive.
Yeah.
And instead of playing a move to make it unconditionally alive, he allowed a ko,
Yeah. Yeah.
which
So,
was
this is actually the on the screen now is basically the game where what you describe is about to happen. So basically, for those who are familiar with this, what this is saying is that black has a 98.3 chance of winning if AI was to play itself, basically, right? And so this black group, so this is what happens. All right, so black's trying to stay alive somehow. So there's this code going on here, and at this point, white, which is Sinjin Soul, is like still at 0% practically. So this is what happened, and I think this is where the mistake happened, somewhere around here. Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
it was that B16 move that was
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
that was the mistake.
Yeah. So apparently, if I remember correctly, AI wanted black to play on the outside like that.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. And
Yeah, I think that
and white can Atari and then do something like this, and then black maybe do something like this, and start a code this way. But this code is better for black, because if black
Oh,
wins,
right. Yeah,
they can kill
so
it.
it's still a ko, but it's a better ko.
Yeah, it's better code.
Yeah.
Whereas this way, the way they play in the real game, white throws in. Yeah, so it's it's just the you see how white liberties are not filled.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's a lot
One
harder.
less. I think one less lib. White's got one more
Yeah,
liberty in
so
this case.
just because of that, um, yeah, St. John Soul managed to reverse the game, and
Yeah,
I,
this completely reversed
yeah,
the game.
and we remember saying that it basically just St. John Soul knew all along all of this stuff, and he just kind of baited black into making this mistake, like even all the way back here, they were like, St. John Soul was like, I'm not gonna let you so easily. I think they were fighting a code. So they were fighting a code, and St. John Soul was like, "Nah, I'm not gonna let you finish this code so easily." They were fighting a code, and this was one of the code threats or something.
Right.
Yeah. So I think St. John Soul decided to do something there, like just said, "Okay, you can try to live down there, and this will be really complicated," and eventually ended up falling for it. That's
Yeah, he set some sort of trap.
yeah.
He's which he does so often. I've seen him set traps so often, like against Yang Ding Sing in the LG Cup final.
Yeah.
Against I think he set a trap for Mi Yu Ting in the Nongshim Cup game that ended up getting voided.
Yeah.
He's done it countless number of times.
Yeah.
He's so scary in losing positions when the opponent's in Byoyomi especially.
Like, but I think basically you can never really write him off. Like he could be at 0%, and he'll be patiently setting this trap for you, and you could just walk into it.
Yeah.
It's happened. It's done it so many times. It's just crazy. But but he could have easily lost that one. That
Yeah,
could be one of his rare losses of the year.
I definitely had already
Written
um,
him off.
yeah, written him off
I mean, yeah,
before he reversed the game, and that was that was definitely a real turning point in the match because that made it 2-1 to Celtrion.
yeah,
Otherwise, it would have been 2-1 to Team Kicks.
yeah,
So um, then once board four started, Celtrion only needed one more win, and so Won Song Jin,
yeah,
um, number two for Team Celtrion, played number two for Team Kicks, Park Min Kyu, and it wasn't. It wasn't really that close a game.
yeah,
I think Won Song Jin won quite comfortably,
yeah,
and Team Celtrion's sort of fairy tale run continues.
yeah. Well, I mean, it's I've done a simulation which didn't quite pop up here, but I believe they have a decent chance of
Yeah.
winning it. Yeah.
So then the next round will be
Tajem,
Celcheon against third place, Taigem.
which is
That starts tomorrow.
the best of three.
This one's just the best of three. So
Yeah,
both teams are on a level
yeah,
playing field. Best
yeah,
of three matches.
yeah.
Um,
And
and then whoever wins that will play Team Posco Chemical
yep,
in a best of three.
yep,
And then whoever wins that plays Team Hapcheon
yeah. In the
in the final.
best of
Best
five.
of five.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Now I'm gonna start mentioning one of the most senior Weiqi reporters in China. His name is Xie Rui. He writes for probably the most popular sports newspaper in China. And he had a very critical piece of the Korean League this week, which I'm gonna just go into a little bit because Korean League is also a little bit of a kind of strange topic for me, in that I see it mentioned often, but I find it really hard to follow and find it following it. It's not as rewarding as following some other leagues, but and I think that's a good reason why, because if you look at the scores, this is the score for the teams in the playoffs.
In the regular season.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. So see the top four teams, they all finished on 10-6. That means
That's
they
right.
won 10 matches and lost 6.
Yeah,
That's
very even.
that's a remarkably even league. Not just even, it's inseparable. Now imagine if the Premier League is so tight in the top four. It's almost never happens, right? And then the next two teams are 9-7, again tied on score. So basically the only thing really separating them really is just the number of times they won, and then some other tiebreaker. But the top two finish on 48 each.
Right.
So there's not much separating them, and I think that the teams in the Korean Baduk League, they don't take care of anything like youth development, or anything to do with running the team or whatever. They just purely there to put their name on the teams as a marketing exercise, and that's it. And the drafting of the teams, I believe, goes like this: like you get to, some team gets to draft the first player, so obviously they will go and pick Shin Jin So, and then in the next two rounds they get to pick last. So you pick Shin Jin So and you end up with the 18th player and the 27th player or something like that, and so on and so forth. So it's, teams are not directly involved in selecting their team, like for example paying people more so that the better players come on their team. It's purely an even a very evened out selection kind of process. So if you look at Team Taijam, let's quickly look at the Team Taijam makeup and you'll see what I mean.
Yeah, Team Taijam has a very even team. They don't have any super strong players, but
Yeah,
they've got depth.
yeah. So yeah, but okay, this is Team Taijam. So Park Jin So, he did beat Shin Jin So once, I think, recently. Choi Jung, Han Sung Jo, Park Ha Min, Han San Jo. Like, you really, I mean, look at this team. Like, you wouldn't really put them anywhere near like a championship winning team, really. but but in reality
Well, their top
they came
four
third.
players. I mean, their number four player is Park Jin Sol.
Yeah,
That's pretty good.
yeah, yeah,
That's four players in the top 30.
yeah. So just because they have a pretty average team, and because every match is between five players, so if you're strong, you have a reasonably strong four, then you could actually go a long way. So
Yeah,
it's
you
really
could definitely get some good matchups. Like you'll probably always lose to your opponent's top player,
right. Yeah,
but you know your number threes and fours, like depending on the matchups, you could get
yeah,
three comfortable wins.
yeah. So and that's how they got there. But anyway, that's just a minor
Well,
thing.
yeah, I have a few comments related to
Yeah,
that. So, in terms of youth development, it is true that the Korean League, in isolation, doesn't really do much for the youth. But there is a youth league. There is a separate youth league.
yeah,
I'm not even sure if the teams are if the teams are the same. There may actually be different teams in the youth league.
yeah,
Some of them will overlap. Like I'm sure, like Celtrion and Taigem and that will have youth teams as well. But yeah, there's an entirely separate youth league.
yeah,
The obviously the problem there is that all the players are youths. It's just youths playing more youths.
yeah,
So they're not playing Shinjinso
yeah,
or you know the top players. They're playing the top youths.
yeah,
Um, Regarding the drafting as well, it is true that the teams are drafted every season.
yeah,
Um, so you could have a completely new team, but teams also have the option to keep as many players as they want
yeah,
from last season. So, for instance, Team Celtrion actually kept their entire five players from
yeah,
last season.
yeah.
So none of those five players actually were in the draft. Other teams couldn't draft them.
Right.
Um, so so some t- and then if teams choose not to not to keep all of their players or not to keep any of their players, then yes, all of those players go into the draft, and then other teams will have the opportunity to draft them.
Yep. All right. So, yep.
But yeah, so Shin Jinso will probably be in Team Selchion for a long time
Yeah.
until the format for the Korean League changes.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, other the drafting happens every year, so
Yeah.
some teams do have wholesale changes. For instance,
Yeah.
Team Kicks. I do recall that last season Team Kicks was spearheaded by Park Young Hoon,
Yeah.
whereas now it's spearheaded by Shin Bin Jun.
Right. Yep.
Um, so it's a very different team.
And I guess the other criticism about the league was that apparently the the prize money for winning it's the same for every team, and you get the same amount of rewards for winning, and whether you're a Shinjinso or the team B team player or whatever. So it's not differentiated, and therefore it's just it feels like it's just an exercise to get more players to play. It's not really there to kind of get a market going so that players can get the best for what they do. But that's another criticism for why it's
Right.
not as I guess player wouldn't be as motivated to in these kind of competitions, but it's still an interesting thing to follow just because.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, I
Yeah,
don't know any of these like Korean companies except for Taigem.
yeah,
So for me, yeah, it's not. I don't really feel any connection to any of the teams except for Taigem.
yeah,
So I really just watch the league for the games.
yeah,
And also, I mean, I'm a fan of Shin Jinso, so I do like to watch his games.
yeah,
And I guess obviously I want to see his team do well, because if his team does well, then Shinjinso will play more games.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that makes sense to me.
but other than that, yeah, there isn't really much of a connection. But
Yeah,
you know, the games can still be enjoyable.
yeah, absolutely. Now let's move on to a little bit about the LG Cup Taiwan Qualification. So these are the top eight. I think they actually just concluded today. We'll find out who the eventual winner is. But yeah, Xu Haohong, Lin Junyi, and Wang Yuanjun. These are really strong players. The usual suspects in your round of eight.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's keep going. More pictures. Nothing new, I wouldn't say. Same kind of stuff. So some pictures for the Asian game selection.
Nice.
Yeah. Another round of women's league. We'll kind of skip to the end.
Let's go. Let's wait until we get to round 7 of the women's league.
Yeah.
That's halfway point.
So I've some pictures of the 33rd women Meijin final. We looked at them last week. Yeah.
Wait, did we look at what did we look at in women's Meijin last week?
We looked at the same pictures, but these are another set of pictures that's kind of slightly different. So we just included them.
Yeah, but I think we only watched game 1. Like, we only reported game 1 last week.
No, I thought we
We
had
only
seen.
reported game 1 because game 2 was on Saturday.
Oh, is that right? Okay, so that could be it. So this could be the after the game too. So then in that case, I should have the reports. I don't have the reports yet, but let's look at the fifth Woohyung Goseiken Cup. This news is about Japan submitting the list of their 4 participants to the competition, which if you recall is the international women's competition.
Yeah, it's a very highly regarded women's international. I would say a women's major.
Yeah, I think it's the biggest one out there. I guess you would have to say.
It's at the moment, it and the Senko Cup are the
Yeah.
2 biggest active women's majors. Yeah.
Yes, international. Yes.
Yeah.
Now apparently, this news kind of slipped under the radar a little bit, even in the Chinese media. I kind of just picked it up, but Fujisawa Rina, there's an error there. Yuano Asami, Suzuki Ayumi, and Nakamura Sumire were the submitted participants for Team Japan this year. And Xie Ming missed out. And I believe this is Xie's first time missing out on the Wuqingyuan Cup.
Yeah, that was a big surprise for me.
Yeah,
Fujisawa, Ueno, and
yeah,
Suzuki were all expected, but I did expect Ji Min to be picked instead of Sumire.
right. And but Sumire did win the Women's Meijing League ahead of Xie Yimin. So what's your reasons for picking Xie ahead of Sumire?
I think that Xie is still. I believe in most rating lists she's still rated ahead of Sumire.
Right.
I could be wrong on that.
Yeah,
But it's just, I guess, just the experience and really it just, to me, I feel that if anything there should have been a qualification tournament
right.
for
Yeah,
the spot. I do feel that Sumire, certainly by winning the Meijin League, has a case
yeah,
for selection, but I don't really think that Ji Min did anything to lose, sort of, for her chances to fall. I believe she did finish second in
right.
the women's Meijin League ahead of Suzuki.
Yeah,
So, if anything, I would have had Fujisawa as an automatic selection.
yeah,
Ueno as an automatic selection because she won the Senko Cup,
yeah,
and then have Suzuki, Sumire, Zhu Yiming, and maybe Iko New.
Yeah,
I don't know how to pronounce her name.
yeah.
Perhaps have those four have
Play the
a
tournament.
single round robin tournament or something, and the top two go through.
Yeah, yeah. So there's not much news coming out of Japan, so I don't know what's happened. So, but this is what it is, and Ueno Asami has a really pretty good record in the Woohyung Cup. She even beat Choi Jong once, so something to look forward to.
Right, but Choi Jong also has a very good record
Well,
in
yes,
the Goseigen Cup.
yeah, and the other participants are listed here. The usual suspects from China, the usual suspects from Korea. In fact, I believe that would be the top 5 in Korea.
At the moment, yes, that
Yes,
is the top 5 in
yeah,
Korea. Yeah,
and from Taiwan, Lu Yuhua. We've met her before.
yeah. Well,
She made the
she was
final of the
finalist at the
Senko.
Senko Cup.
So
So,
yeah, so I'm really looking forward to this Woohyung Cup coming up.
yep.
So let's see what
I do
happens there.
prefer this one over the Senko Cup because there's 24 players
Yeah,
and it's a best of 3 final.
yeah,
It does. It definitely seems more comprehensive.
yeah. It is a bigger tournament in general, I'd say, and bigger prize money as well. So
Right, right.
more prestige. I think I personally would attach more prestige to Woohyung Cup than Senko Cup, because Senko Cup
Yeah,
is a very
I
short,
agree.
yeah,
But
very short,
they're both obviously very important.
yeah, on a women's calendar. So yeah, some more pictures in the Meijin final,
Yeah,
game
it's
two.
crazy to see how many cameras there are. Look at that.
Well, apparently, Tsumira is extremely popular in Japan, and uh, one counted more than 100 media outlets attending the games just to report on the final, because it is kind of a little sensation, like 13-year-old challenger. So that is quite something. Um, yeah. So this is the actual reporting of the what's happened. Yeah, 33rd Women Meijin.
So the second game was on Saturday.
Yeah,
We reported last week that Fujisawa won the first game.
yeah,
Um,
and
and that
and
was a fairly exciting game. I
yeah,
recall that one. The
yes,
second game was definitely a bit more dry
yeah,
in terms of excitement.
yeah,
Um, Fujisawa had quite a commanding position early,
yeah.
and yeah,
I mean,
Sumire never managed
yeah,
to get back to even.
yeah. So in a way, that wasn't really unexpected, but hey, we'll see what happens. I guess let's see what happens next year, because Sumire might challenge again, and I'm sure Sumire will win a title in Japan at some point, maybe even an international title. Let's see.
It's definitely still worth following Sumire.
Yeah,
And I think that she still has the potential to you know get up to the high echelons of the domestics, the open domestics
right.
in Japan.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
definitely feel that she should aim for that sort of level.
yeah. Perhaps making one of the top 3 leagues. Do you think?
Oh, that would be. I think yeah, the potential's still there. So
Yeah,
um,
yeah,
obviously some things to work on based on these games.
yeah,
Rena was definitely in command.
yeah.
Um,
Now, one interesting thing, that it's interesting that you mentioned that, because there is an article on the Chinese media that was translated from Japanese. It's actually very interesting, because the guy who translates the Japanese Go News articles into Chinese, he
yeah.
often cross dresses, and he sometimes refers to himself as a woman. So
Fascinating.
yeah, so sometimes I don't really know if he's serious or not. Or like you know how some people are just performers, they just perform, they cross dress,
Right.
but they still identify as men.
Performance art.
Yes, but this person, I I get the feeling that he still identifies himself as a man, but he definitely cross dresses and posts himself dressed or herself dressed as a woman. But she's the one that consistently translates all these articles. But the point was this week she translated an article from Japan saying that the rise of women players in Japan and how these women players could make it big, and that Ueno Asami actually made the final of Ryosei recently,
That's
and
right. A few years
she
ago.
almost won. She lost to Ichiriki
Ichiriki.
just
Yep.
yeah. So what you said could really happen. I really do hope to see a women player breaking into one of the big leagues. That would be something.
Yeah, it has been really close. I think just the last Meijin League,
Yeah,
Ji Yimin was one win away
yeah, yeah,
from
yeah,
qualifying.
yeah, yeah. That would have
Um,
been something. Yeah,
yeah, so close. I think
yeah,
it will happen. I think it will happen soon. Next
yeah,
5 years.
yeah, yeah. I think I'm not 100% sure about Korea, but it feels like the only region where that hasn't happened is Japan. Because
I
in
think so too.
China obviously in the past, Urena Way made one of the top 10 person leagues. Back
Yeah,
then when China still had league competitions. Of course, Hey Jia Jia or Joanne Missingham made a Taiwan league, a
yeah.
top one. Um, I'm not sure in Korea if Choi John has made a major league,
Well,
but
Choi Jong made the Hanguk Kiwon League,
yes, okay, yeah, yeah. Or then
top 12. That's the top 12.
yeah,
And of course, I mean, Ruinawe won the Kuksu.
yeah. So we really just waiting for Japan to do the same, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, but all right. So a bit of change of pace again. Korean League postseason. I think this time I did have a simulation after, um, uh, I think in the round two prediction just before round two happened. I kind of predicted they have really similar chances of winning. And I think if you restrict the player selection to the top five, Celtron on paper actually has a pretty huge advantage over other games because if you if all if you select your best five players, then almost guaranteed Celtron will win one game. So you already one down, so you kind of have a huge advantage.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well, well, believe it or not, Shin Jinso has still yet to lose in the Korean League. I think he
yes.
went. I think he's now 19 games
Yeah.
with 19 wins
Yeah.
across the regular season and the playoffs.
Yeah.
So
Well, believe it or not, that's still you know 5 games away from his record for consecutive wins versus Chinese players.
which is it's still ongoing.
It's still ongoing. I think every time I go onto like a Chinese forum or something, they'll mention something like that. Oh, there's some Chinese player will rise up. Who will rise up and stop Xin Jinzhou? And then it's like we're still waiting. Let's see what happens. Yeah, but of course, we already mentioned all the results. So basically, really, uh, yeah,
This is a 50-50.
yeah,
The simulation says
yeah, yeah, Thai Jam,
for the next round versus
yeah,
Taijen.
cause Thai Jam is as you say, it's very even but strong team. That there are
They've
four
got a
players
lot
in the
of
top
depth.
30. Yeah,
Yeah.
and this is the game where Sin Jin So managed to reverse it. This is the y-axis is Sin Jin So's win rate. As you can see, it's down to like zero,
Yeah,
and
it
then
was. It
and
was
then,
down to zero.
and then yeah,
Yeah.
and then near the end, just bam, 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 100%. So
Yeah.
that's just that's crazy. Um, Now, we'll talk about the men's selection probably near the end, but really before it kind of started, it was like
It was a shaky start for the top three.
I mean it was you have to say it's kind of like a terrible start, but you know, like we'll actually go through the game with the results. Okay, this is women
Okay, so this is the
leagues round
halfway
7.
point.
Yeah, this is a halfway point. So Yu Zhiying is leading.
Yeah.
Li He, surprisingly, she's doing quite
Well,
well.
she's surprisingly, but even more surprisingly is the next player
Wu
there,
Yiming,
Ming,
yeah, was
with
leading the
10
league.
points.
Leading the league. 10 that means 5 wins out of the first seven.
Five wins out of the first 7 games, yeah.
And so at this point I kind of believe she's heavily underrated. I think because a lot of her games, firstly she's very young, so she could be improving rapidly, and secondly a lot of her games are not recorded. But
Right, and those don't count for the ratings.
no, that's the thing. Well, the ratings are only computed, I believe, from games that have Kifus. So
The Go ratings, I believe, are only calculated from games on
right,
go4go.net, and those games all have Kifus, so it's
yeah,
only recorded games
yeah, sure.
that get rated. I'm pretty sure.
So actually, you know what? Majority of the games in this Asian game selection are not used for ratings, but they are used for the Chinese official ratings. So you put sometimes
Right.
sometimes you have to put a bit, take the ratings here with a bit of grain of salt. But Wu Yiming, underrated for sure, wins 5 out of 7. But we'll see what happens with her later on. But
Well, yeah, but let's also report that it doesn't look good for Rui.
yeah, no, and as I mentioned, the settings, the whole setup is not suited for her
Yeah,
really. But
it certainly seems to be the case.
yeah, and at this point, Zhou Hongyu is sitting precarious at 5th because only the top 4 qualify.
Ah, only
So
the top four.
yeah, only the
Right.
top 4 qualify, 4 out of 8. So, but another bit of news which I just learned today. Apparently, this league is also used to select the Hopan Cup, which is a Nongshim style cup that we discussed earlier on.
We discussed the Korean selection,
Yeah,
but the Chinese selection process is entirely different.
yeah,
Each country has their own selection process.
correct. But apparently, I can't 100% confirm, but this league is also used to select that. So if you come in the top 4, you make the Asian Games team. But if you come top 5, you still make the whole plan. So you have something to play for as well.
Right,
Yeah,
right. I find that curious though because China don't China players don't seem to play that many games
yeah,
across the year.
yeah.
Um, I think they definitely play less than Koreans, and I think they play less than the Japanese top players.
Right.
And you can see here that they're using the same one tournament,
Yeah,
two different one event for two different tournaments
yeah,
for the selection process for two different tournaments. So
yeah. I
in
wonder
Korea, at
when.
least, they had separate qualifications for the Asian Games and
Right.
for the Hoban Cup team.
I wonder when does the Hoban Cup game start? I wonder if that's got to do anything to do with it.
I'll try and check that now.
Yeah.
I believe I think it's next month. I think
Right.
it's not that far off.
So
Yeah, it's just before the LG Cup.
so if it's
It's the week before the LG Cup. Yeah,
yeah, so maybe they're just a bit time pressed. I'm not sure, but
maybe.
yeah,
Yeah, maybe.
but it still unconfirmed. But if they're so pressed for time, that could be it. Now, just briefly talk about the men's selection in the Asian Games, the Chinese tournament, the 10-person league.
So this is approximately the halfway point
This is
here.
about this is about round
Five of
5 rounds,
nine,
5 out of 9. Yeah. Now,
and Fanting Yu has won all five.
crazy, right?
So
Crazy.
he's sitting pretty because you only need to finish top six.
Correct to qualify,
Yeah.
and just for people who missed last one or didn't follow this whole thing, they basically had this qualification tournament in 2 stages. The top 5 Chinese players are seeded into the second stage, which is a 10-player league, and you need to finish top 6 to qualify. So the top 5 players had a really good chance going into this because they were top 5 to start with, and they take top 6, right? So
Yeah, you don't even need to finish in the top half of this
No,
group.
you can't just But like, but it's a sad story. This tournament for me was Ding Hao. He's ranked number two, three major domestic tournaments in China, but he went five games without a win.
First 5 rounds, and he didn't even win a single game.
No,
I
no, he
don't
didn't.
even think he played. Did he play Koje in any round in the first
In the
five?
he might have played Kerje in the sixth round or something. Let me see. Um, so where is it? This is Ding Hao. So he's got losses against these five players. And these five players were yeah, he did play
He,
Kerje,
he, he did play
Yang
Koje, all
Dingxin,
right.
Mi Yuting. Yeah, so I mean they're all strong players, but
But he would have
on
been expected to win
two
four
or
of them.
three, by this
Yeah,
point. Like even though he plays some really strong players, and this is when we started to think, hey, what, because we thought Kerje, Gu Zihao, Ding Hao, top three in China, they all started. Kerje started with a 50-50 record. Gu Zihao was like lost his first three games. Ding Hao lost his first five. So I guess at some
yeah,
point we're like, what is the chance of the top three qualifying together or some combination of them? And by this time, all three qualifying was already sitting at 3%. Like it was
yeah,
basically
crazy.
something was going to happen. But and Kerje, he won about half of his games, so he's got six
Yeah,
points.
he was never really in like he was never really in serious danger
Yeah,
of falling below the top six. But it was never,
yeah,
especially in the first half, he wasn't
yeah.
super safe
No,
above the cutoff.
yeah.
It
So
was the first half was definitely it was a slow start for him.
yeah. It's a slow start, and then of course Fan Ting Yu and Yang Dingxin sitting pretty, and then you could have Mi Yuting, Gu Zihao. Gu Zihao by this point has recovered. He's won the two games even after losing the first three. Li Xuanhao was a bit unfancy at this point, you say, but 5 games
Yeah,
in,
bit
only won two.
unfancy. Yeah.
But that's what happened by the midway point, and we'll see how this league concludes, which is actually also very very interesting. Yeah, so this next news is round six because not much happening because five and
Yeah.
six happened in the same day. Uh, Korea's strongest league, not much to report here except I think Bjorn won as expected, so he kind
Yeah,
of sets a pace.
that was important for Bjorn. It was an expected win because Cho Han Seong still hasn't won a game,
No,
but Bjorn is only on one loss, which is now
yeah,
um, everyone's on one loss.
yeah,
So he was in the lead,
yeah,
and yeah, so he needs to keep winning games
yeah,
to preserve his lead at the top of the table.
yeah. And it's a 9-person league, right? So it's one, two, three, four, five, six,
Yeah, it's a
seven, eight,
nine-person
nine.
league. Yeah,
Yeah. So there's only one more game for Bjorn to play.
only one more game for Bjorn. So he's I think one of the rounds he'll have a bye.
Yeah,
So he probably hasn't had his bye round yet.
right.
Um, and I don't think he's played Park Chun Wan yet. I don't
So
believe he
Bjorn Sang
has.
Il, nope.
No, so that's going to be his final game.
Yeah, that could be the league winner decider. Really, could be,
It could be
could be.
Shin Min Jun as well
Yeah,
is only on one loss,
yeah,
and I think he lost to Bjorn. Yeah, he obviously lost to Bjorn because they've played.
yeah,
No. Bjorn lost it.
yeah.
No,
No,
that was
Bjorn,
Bjorn's one loss.
yeah,
My mistake.
yeah. No,
Shin
no,
Min
yeah.
Jun beat Bjorn.
That's right. That's right. I believe that's what happened.
But Shin Min Jun hasn't played Park Chun Hwan either.
No.
Um,
So yeah. Yeah. So Bjorn plays
so
Siminjun lost.
yeah, so those games will all be important.
Yeah.
So Park Chun Hwan versus Shin Min Jun and Park Chun Hwan versus Byun Sang Gil.
Yeah.
Um, and they're probably the only three that have. I don't see Kang Dong Yoon
Yeah. No.
um, like he can win his last 2 games, but I don't think the other 3 will all get another loss.
Yeah.
So I think Kang Dong-yoon is really just going to try and stay in the top 4.
Yeah.
Just aiming to stay in the top 4 so he keeps his spot for next season.
Yeah. Yeah. So Kang's chance of winning is 2%.
Yeah.
And really,
And that if it wasn't already confirmed before, that solidifies Cho Han Seong's spot in the bottom 5.
yeah. I mean, it's 0-7.
He was already in the bottom 5 actually.
He's definitely getting relegated. 100%.
So he'll have to qualify again next season if he wants to compete in this.
Unless he gets
obviously not. He'll just be trying to win his last game. He'll just be trying to win his last game, try and get a win on the board.
Yeah, and chances of him getting a wild card is slim. But of course, the winner of the Korea's strongest league will challenge Shin Jin-so for the title.
Shin Jin-so, yep. And that'll be I'm looking forward to that match, whoever it is.
Yeah, could be one of the 3: Byeon, Park, or Shin. So Asian Games, some more stuff happening.
Yeah, let's keep going.
Taiwan Shituan.
Right.
Nothing much happened. Wang Yuanjun is gonna play Chen Qirui and Lin Shixun and Lu Yichuan.
Okay, and what happens to the winner of the final?
I think they will have to challenge Xu Haohong for the title.
Right. Okay. So this is the semi-final of the Challenger.
Yeah, they haven't played yet the semi-final. They only played the
That's the semi-finalists. But whoever wins will have to challenge Xu Haohong.
And I don't know what the best of what it is. Maybe 3-5.
We can try and find that out now.
Yeah. See if you have the info.
Yeah. So it looks like it's a best of 5. Yeah. Best of
5. And of course, the 5th Yongsang in Korea also happened. Kang Dong-yoon beat Park Yun-han by 1.5. And this is the best I can find in terms of the tables, in terms of where everyone sits.
So this is a Korean major, but it's extremely fast. It's 20 minutes with 20-second Fisher increment.
Right.
So every move you play, you get 20 seconds added to your clock.
Yeah.
So it's very fast.
Yeah.
So this was Kang Dong-yoon beating Park Young-hoon.
Yeah.
Right. So that was the round of 16 game.
Yeah.
Yeah. So some very strong players are already out. Park Jun-wan lost in the first round.
Yeah.
Byun Sang-gil lost in the second round, in the round of 16.
Yeah.
Shin Jin-so, of course,
is still
there.
Yeah.
I don't know when his quarterfinal game will be.
Yeah, it's not yet.
It may not have been scheduled yet.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if this is the same in Korea, but some of these are pre-recorded in Japan and China anyway. This same competition, but really, I guess the point is, it's just Shin Jin-so's.
These games are not pre-recorded. These are
live.
These are when they're on Baduk TV, they're live.
Okay, I see. Yeah.
These are definitely live.
So I think only the Chinese one or the Japanese one is recorded.
Well, I think there's another major in Korea called the KBS Cup, and that one may be pre-recorded.
Oh yes, and I believe KBS also withholds the Kifu until it's broadcast as well.
Yeah. Well, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah. And okay, so apart from the Yongsang, Maxim Cup final.
Yeah, this was probably the biggest. This is actually big news. It's the Maxim Cup.
Yeah. It's a major.
It's 50 million won. It's actually not a major.
Oh, okay.
I believe it's not a major because it's invitational.
Right.
There's no qualification tournament. I believe that's the case.
And I believe it's only you have to be 9 Dan to play in it.
I don't know if that's is that Is that true?
I believe so because it's often recorded as the title of the cup is like the strongest 9 Dan or something. Yeah, that's
Wait,
what I believe.
you might actually be right. Every participant in this one was 9 Dan.
Yeah, no, I'm just based on the stuff I know, but basically,
I think you must be right.
yeah,
No, I didn't know that.
yeah,
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 it's not a major though.
yeah. Well,
But um, yeah, this was big news. Probably the third biggest story in Korea this week after the LG Cup
yeah,
and the first round of the KB League playoffs.
yeah,
Park Jun-won had won the first game last week. That was a really exciting game, and game two was on Monday, and it wasn't as exciting.
I think it finished in 159 moves. It was really
It
short.
still had its moments.
Yeah,
Um,
it-
as I mean, the time controls for Maxim Cup are, I believe, 10 minutes main time, and then five 40-second increments.
yeah,
So it's extremely fast.
yeah,
It's you know probably just as fast as the Yongxiong.
yeah,
Um, and yeah, you'll see players get down to their final 40-second Byoyomi
yeah,
quite quickly. Um, and so there'll always be a lot of fluctuation if you follow the games with AI.
yeah,
But yeah, in this one again, Park Jun-wan proved his superiority
yeah,
and and won the title. So I did a little bit of research
yeah,
in head to head between Park Chun-hwan and Lee Dong-hoon.
yeah.
Um, they've played 15 times now.
Right.
Two of those games was the KBS Cup in 2015, so 7 years ago, and Lee Dong-hoon won that final 2-0. The
Yeah.
other 13 games, Park Jun-hwan has won.
Oh wow.
So, including the last 11. So, the last 11 times they've played now, Park Chun-won has beat Lee Dong-hoon. So, it really hasn't been. It's really not a good matchup for Lee Dong-hoon,
Yeah.
it turns out.
So Lee Dong-hoon just had a flash of brilliance, 2-0 Park Jun-hwan, but the rest
Well,
was
yeah,
just
he was obviously a lot younger then. I think he may have been
yeah.
17 or
Okay. Oh, well.
something like that.
No, just yeah. But of course, the second 0 score performance for Lee Dong-hoon versus Park Jun-hwan already.
This year,
This
yeah,
year,
this year.
he of course got handed a drubbing in the 3-0 by
In the inaugural Hankook Kiwon.
Hankook Kiwon.
Yeah, so that's already five losses to Park
Yeah.
Chun-won this year.
And interestingly, it still reminds me because Lee Dong-hoon beat Shin Jin-so to make the final of Hankook Kiwon. He beat Shin
That's right.
Jin-so, and then just in the final lost to Park 3-0. So what can you say? That's just the way it is.
Yeah, hopefully he does. Yeah, have a bit, be a little bit more
Yeah.
consistent against Park Chun-won and Shin Jin-so. He still has a very poor record against Shin Jin-so,
Yeah.
including like soon after he beat him in the Hankook Kiwon, he faced Shin Jin-so in KB League, and it was one of the most lopsided games I've ever followed.
That's crazy.
So yeah, I do hope he can soon, prove his worth consistently against the top players in both Korea and on the international stage.
Yeah. Of course, he is a regular in the Chinese JA League, so yeah, we'll see him
And
quite often.
he actually did quite well in the last season of JA
Yeah, I
League.
believe so. I believe so. Yeah, I think he did
Yeah.
quite well. So now.
So this is round 7. So let's have a look at this because there's two rounds to go.
Yeah, we got to round 7.
And So two big surprises here. Two big surprises. Fan Yu is still on 100%.
100%, yes.
And it should also be pointed out, Fan Yu wasn't one of the seeds. He had to qualify from stage 1
Yeah,
as well. And he's dominating all of these players in stage 2.
yeah. I mean,
That's really impressive.
yeah, like it's
And so obviously he's already secured his spot on the team.
yeah, pretty much 100% together with Yang Dingxin and Kerje. You know, despite doing nowhere near as well as Fan, is almost guaranteed.
4 wins from 7 is definitely not Kerje.
Yeah,
Is definitely not typical Kerje.
yeah,
But it's enough to make the team, and that's really all that. Like at the moment, he's doing just enough to make the team, and that's all that counts. He probably just needs one more win from his final 2 rounds.
Yeah.
He'll be fine.
Yeah, and
what's the other big surprise in this table?
You tell me what's the big surprise?
Well, I mean, look at the bottom there. Ding Hao.
It's still
0 wins.
0 wins.
7 games. Like I know that these players are all, you know, China's strongest players, but I would never.
Yeah.
I couldn't expect anyone to pick 7 players in the entire world that Ding Hao would go 0 for 7 against.
Yeah. No, that's definitely very, very unusual. So I'm not 100% sure what's happened there, but Ding Hao's lost a lot of points in the official Chinese ranking. So he's definitely not going to be number 2.
I wouldn't be surprised if he's lost his number 2 ranking.
Yeah, I think someone in China does the real-time ranking. So every time a game happens, he just calculates it because it's just ELO. Apparently, Yang Dingxin took back the second number 2 spot.
Oh, Yang Dingjin.
Yeah.
Right. I was assuming Gu Zihao, but
no. Had they published the rankings today, but obviously the rankings will only be published at the end of the month.
Yeah.
And there's still a big competition coming up in between the Lanka Cup, so maybe Ding Hao can recover some of that. But let's see. I hope he gets out of this slump because this
I have to say, I do have to say, like, this is just really disappointing because Ding Hao so far, he's obviously proven himself in the Chinese domestic scene.
Yeah.
Not only with his titles, but also with his performances. Like, he does have really good records against players like Ko Jae.
Yeah.
He has an enviable record against Ko Jae.
Well, in fact, he was known as the Kerje killer.
Yeah. He beat Shin. I think he beat Shin Jin So in Jia League last year. One of the last Chinese players to beat Shin Jin So.
Yes, and Mi Yuting and Kerje last year.
Yeah, but he still hasn't proven himself in the international majors.
No.
I remember last year when he wasn't even able to qualify for a lot of them.
Yeah.
He's in the Chunlan Cup, I believe. He was in the Chunlan Cup this year, I believe, as a seed. He didn't have to qualify.
Yeah.
And he lost.
He lost to Shin Min Jun.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely very great.
He doesn't have a big. He hasn't made a semi-final of an international major yet.
Yeah.
And he's not even gonna he's already out.
Yeah.
He's not even gonna be in the Asian Games.
Yeah, which is.
I have to say it's really disappointing.
Yeah.
I'm a bit of a Ding Hao fan.
Yeah.
He's not my favorite player in China, but I do want to see him do well, and this is obviously the complete opposite of that.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you see some good news a bit later on. But I want people to pay attention to Shaker here and Tor Jiaxi. So this is round 7. And Tor is still 2 games behind Xie, right?
Yeah. The other surprise there, I think, is Mi Yuting.
Yeah.
Mi Yuting also had a very bad Chunlan Cup. I think he lost to Sada at Sushi.
Yeah.
Japanese player in the first round of the Chunlan Cup, and that was absolutely shocking.
Yeah.
Here he's currently 7th.
Yeah. I mean, it still has a chance, but let's see what happens. But it's. Yeah, by this time, this Ding Hao just basically gone.
Well, Ding Hao's already mathematically eliminated at this point.
Yeah, no, it's not possible for him anymore.
Yeah.
So, a bit of a sad story, but
let's keep going.
But round 8, finally some good news. Ding Hao wins the game.
Ding Hao finally wins a game. And
But
Fanting, you lost.
yeah,
I think he lost to Koje.
he lost to Kerj. He
Yeah,
did
yeah.
lose to Kerj, uh,
But
so yeah, so
Ding Hao beat Li Zuanhao.
yeah,
No.
no,
That's round seven.
yeah, that's round 7. This
Yeah,
is round
what
8.
was round eight? Ding Hao beat Lian Jiao. Right.
Yeah, so Lian Xiao, he's already out, so he thought I'd give you a win. Li Chuan Hao is just crazy, like, and To Jiaxi beats Shaker, so
Oh, that game was
that's
probably game of the week for me
yeah,
in terms of the game. It wasn't the highest quality game, but it was the most insane capturing race.
yeah.
I
Nah,
do recommend people to look up that game and go through it.
yeah, I didn't watch the game at the time, but I listened to this podcast, and the podcast guy was like, this is the most bizarre game he's seen. He's like, all Shaker had to do to win was connect his dragons home, like,
Yeah, yeah.
and he didn't do that. He decided to destroy more territory or something. So I went and
No,
watched the
no,
game.
and then he was behind by a few points, so
Yeah,
instead of playing safe
yeah,
and just he played a desperation move, and his entire like top half dragon died, and he ended up losing by like 100 points.
yeah. Like the whole dragon ended up getting killed. So you really should go and check out this game. It's just bizarre. But
Yeah,
Kerje Hans Fenton you
that game may end up proving pivotal,
yeah.
depending on the final rounds.
Yeah. We'll see. Like Kerje Hans Fanting you a defeat just in the penultimate round, and
Yeah.
just to give you a preview,
Well,
right?
that was really very important for Koje. That may have secured his spot.
Yeah. But the thing is, just to give you a preview, uh, that was the only game Fanting you lost in this entire thing. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of
Just an insane and Fenting Yu, of course, he's he's not always consistent, but when he's on form,
yeah,
he just pulls off these insane things. He obviously won the In Cup.
yeah.
He's twice won 7 straight
In
in the
Nongshim.
Nongshim Cup.
Yeah.
Just
It's nuts.
yeah, he can just pull off these crazy
Yeah.
feats every now and then, and it's just absolutely scary
Yeah.
having to be the next person to face him.
Yeah. So he's done pretty well.
Yeah.
The women's league, we'll come back to that.
Let's give it another round. Yep. So
Yeah. Oh,
that's
some pictures there.
yeah.
That's Lee Dong Hoon, of
That's
course.
Lee Dong Hoon. Yep.
That's Park Jun Hwan.
Yep.
Yeah,
Is that his 4th Maxim Cup? I think that
I believe so.
yeah, it's his
Yeah.
4th.
Yeah,
I think that puts him one behind Lee Sedol. Lee Sedol
wow.
won 5 Maxim Cups, I think,
Yeah,
and so Park Chun Won's on 4.
yeah,
So
Lee-
that's really good because as I mentioned, Maxim Cup is super fast.
yeah,
So to win that many in such a volatile time control is really
It's gonna
impressive.
be really good at reading.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like actually, this person here,
Yep.
that's Hu Yao Yu. Apparently,
Oh, Hu Yao Yu. Hu Yao
yeah.
Yu is a is he a did he win a world major?
No, he came second to Zhou Junxun.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But I guess the other news was that his mother actually fell ill, so he went on Weibo asking if people can help because some of you may know Shanghai is in a severe kind of lockdown,
Yeah.
and he can't really get back. But the good news is that his mother got help and was looked after, so eventually
Yep.
got some treatment. So that's the bit of good
But
news.
first, can we just say what this video is? This is the
This-
Asian Games.
This is the Asian
qualifier?
Games qualifier, yeah, and you can see that. So Hu Yao Yu, and this is Yu Bin, international title winner. They
Yu
are
Bin.
they are the national team coaches.
Yubin won the LG Cup.
Yes, and he made a final, and the second time he made a final, he lost. But the person he lost to has some significance in international go and that's because the person he lost to was Cho Yu. He lost 3-1, and of course Cho Yu was the last Japanese player to win an international title. So
Right.
yeah,
And Hu Yao Yu was the finalist of the LG Cup as well.
yeah, he lost
Obviously
to Zhou
it's different.
Jinxun.
Yeah,
Zhou
a
Junxin, of
different
course, was the
tournament.
only Taiwanese international title winner
Yeah.
ever. That's
And
good.
you can see in this video, so this was the video where I noticed that some of the players have actual recorders. You can see um, people sitting orthogonal,
Yeah,
like three players sitting at some of the boards. I
yeah,
mean, three people sitting at some of the boards. So
yeah.
those are getting,
Oh yeah, this guy. Yeah,
yeah, game records and on the right as well.
yeah,
And some of them don't. So this is the one where I realized that some of the games get recorded and some don't.
yeah. Which is a bit strange why they would do that. But I guess maybe it's a manpower kind of thing. But hey, that's what happens. Round 10.
Yeah, let's check out round 10 because that's with 4 rounds to go.
Yeah, there's 4 rounds to go.
So you can
So
see, yeah, here it's quite. It looks like it's going to be a 5-person fight.
yeah. Well,
For
it
the top
it
four
actually got
pages.
crazier later on because I think at some point 4 players were on the same point.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
yeah,
Let's check it out 1 round later then.
yeah. Let's check it out. So that's the women's game.
Yeah.
Of course, Taiwan had the LG Cup qualification. This is the round of 8. Nothing much happened. So Xu Hao Hong
These were
won.
all sort of according to predictions.
Yeah. So
Yu Hao Hong, Wang
yeah,
Wan Yun,
yeah,
Lin Junyang.
yeah.
I
And
can
the
do.
3 seeds were into the round of 8 was Xu Hao Hong, Lin Junyan, and Wang Yuanjun because they were the title holders in Taiwan.
Right.
So they all made it through. Lai Junfo, of course, a very strong young player. He made it through to the last 4. So we'll see what happens in the LG Cup later on. But the Korean LG Cup qualification is
Yeah, so I think this is the
huge.
biggest. This was the biggest news in Korea this week. The LG
Yeah.
Cup qualifiers.
Well, yeah, and there's just way too many games. But I thought I picked out some of the interesting ones in round
Yeah,
1.
so there are about 220. I think there were 223
Yeah,
entrants
yeah,
for the qualifiers. So they split them into 7 groups
yeah,
of 32,
yeah,
and you just need to win your group, and you're
yeah,
a qualifier.
yeah,
But yeah, so you have to win 5 games. So this was round 1.
yeah. And already, Cho Seon-ga,
Cho
Oh
Seong-an,
Eugene
yeah,
is
Oh
out.
Eugene. So that's number 2 and number 4 in the women's Korean
Yeah,
rankings. Both lost their
yeah.
first round.
I think Hong Woo-jin was in a league.
Hong Moo-jin is in the Korea's strongest league.
Yeah, he's already
And
out.
he's number 25 in he's
Yeah,
number 25 in
yeah.
Korea in
So
the Korean
basically,
round.
round 1 he's already gone. So that's
Yeah, already out. Yeah, that was a big
that was
shock.
interesting news. Now I don't know. There might be because I'm not 100% sure, a backstory to this set of pictures. This is apparently taken at the Asian Games Chinese selection. Just the players' items. Now I have a theory that this came about because of me. This set of pictures
Because of who?
because of me.
Was that?
Because I decided to rant on a Weibo. So I went to Sina's account and I said, why does your pictures look the same every round? Like they got samey, Can't you think of something new to post? And that could be the trigger for them trying to be a little bit creative and just take a picture of people's items and try to make people guess. I never bothered to guess which of these belongs to which, and I never bothered to check the answers. But
Well, the third
I
one, I mean, that's if you look at the name tag, I think that's
yeah,
Yang Bingxing.
yeah, possibly. So he's got this weird, what do you call this mug thingy that he drinks
I
out
don't
of?
know.
Maybe
Is it for
some of us
pouring
drink
tea or
coffee.
something?
You usually put tea or hot water in there. So that's like some tiger balm kind of thing. But anyway,
Oh,
it's
that's obviously
interesting.
Koj.
I don't know. There's some snacks here? Maybe a lady. Yes.
Smart idea to have snacks
Yeah. No, I think.
in these long events.
Well, apparently, at some point, someone started chewing peanuts in China. So they introduced a rule that if you bring in a food, it's something that you can't eat it by chewing it. So that's when people started bringing chocolates because they can just suck on it.
Right.
Yeah. But okay, more LG Cup, round 1.
Yeah,
Lee
so this
Chun-ho.
is the rest of round 1. So
Yeah.
Lee Chung-ho, obviously, like,
Yeah.
absolute legend in Korean, Baduk.
Or in international Baduk as
Oh,
well.
in everything.
Yeah,
Beat Heo Youngrak, who is just a real trailblazing up and comer.
yeah,
He made the Korea's strongest league as a
yeah,
one dan. He's
yeah,
now a two dan.
yeah,
He's number 42 in Korea, but
yeah,
yeah, he couldn't overcome the legend that is Lee Chang-ho.
yeah. That's good.
Um,
Yes.
yep, yeah, good for Lee Chang-ho
Yeah,
fans. Choi Jong and Hyo Young-ho. Hyo Young-ho is just outside the top 50, and of
right.
course I think he's a former semi-finalist.
No, he was a
In
finalist.
Was he a finalist?
I think he lost to
He
Gu Lee.
was,
He was lost
yes,
to
he
Gu Lee.
was.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's actually yeah.
Yeah.
And I think he's won some domestic titles in the past. He's
Yeah,
just outside the
possibly.
top 50 now.
Yeah.
So that was a very highly rated first round matchup.
Yeah.
Choi Jong, obviously, well, the number one women's player in Korea,
Yeah.
beat Hyo Young Ho.
Yeah. That was a good
And
one.
yeah, so the biggest shocks were An Sang Jun and Lee Ji Huin,
Yeah.
both being eliminated.
Yeah.
They're number 11 and 12 in Korea, and
Oh,
they lost
wow.
in the first round.
Wow. I mean,
Another
anything.
another thing I want to mention is before this there was a amateur there was an amateur qualification, so there were 7 spots
Yeah.
for amateurs to win into this
Yeah.
qualifier. So there were 7 amateurs in here, and 4 of them won their first round game.
Right. Yeah. That's I mean, amateurs are not weak, especially those that make it to they are currently in the
Yeah,
in the league. It's just a bit of a video. I think there's actually
more
not much
video.
going on. Not much going on in this video in the Asian
Not
Games
much, but
channels.
I do want to point out. Look at that. Pause it there. Pause it there. Look at Kojay's mask.
Mate, he might as well not be wearing it.
Like I have seen, for instance, Iyama Yuta often has his mask below the nose, which I don't approve of, but it is what it is. This isn't just below the nose; it's almost not covering the mouth.
Yeah. I mean, and now we know what the Koj's mug looks like. It looks
Oh,
like
that's
That's
a
it.
power mug. That
It's
is.
power mug. That's Yang Ding Shin's. They got some
Yeah.
water they're not drinking from. Oh, that might be Fenting Use actually.
Yeah.
And it's just
Oh,
like,
there we go. Kojay's wearing the mask properly now.
they always put this doll here, like it's just weird.
Is that a sponsor?
No, I don't think that's the sponsor for this. This is the Asian game, so some so not much going on here.
Yep. Rui Nawe on
That's
the right
yeah,
there.
right now it's Wei Ming, Wei Yang.
Yeah.
I think it's a 43 or 48 year difference between the two. One of the two.
Nice.
So something crazy. Women's League round 11.
Okay,
This is
let's
this
have a
is
look
the
at this update here.
this is where 4 players are on the same point,
And Zhou Hongyu is only
just outside,
1 win behind.
just outside. But of course,
So pretty much the hope, according to you, if the top 5 is Team Hope, is the Hoban team,
basically, yeah,
pretty much been sorted now.
yeah. But basically, like because Wu Yiming is quite underrated. At this point, her chance of qualifying is actually lower than Zhou Hongyu's, with maybe 3 games to go.
But I mean, technically,
Yeah.
none of these players have secured their spot yet.
Top 4.
Yeah, any of these players could finish 5th.
Yeah. Okay.
With 3 rounds to go.
Yeah.
If you lose all 3 of your games,
Yeah.
you're probably going to finish 5th. So
Yeah.
even Yu Jiying
Yeah.
could possibly
Lose it.
not make the team.
I mean, I couldn't do the simulations.
Yeah, I think according to the simulations, she was probably expected to win
Yeah.
more than 7 of her first 11. So you just don't know. I mean,
Just don't know. Well,
I believe there was a player in the men's team who lost a few games.
Yeah.
In the men's qualifiers.
Yeah. But that the simulation is not correct because maybe Wu Yiming is underrated. It's like just unexpected results. From her.
Yeah, it's always gonna you can't get everything perfect.
Yeah. So let's see what happens. So that's round 11. round 9, the final spot, final
Yeah.
round. So
Okay, so Fan Tingyu obviously already
yeah,
qualified.
got
Yang
8
Dingjing
wins.
and Koje finished strong.
Yeah. Well, actually, this table is actually not technically correct because I believe the tiebreaker for when you're on the same point is sum of defeated opponents' score. So apparently, Kerja actually came second, despite
Okay, but it doesn't
lackluster
really
start.
matter.
Yeah.
You just need to be top 6, right?
Oh yeah, correct. So
Yeah.
but look what happened.
So
Shaker lost it.
so Tuo Jiaxi and Sherker
Yeah,
both finished on 8.
yeah,
That so they were tied for 6, and I
yeah.
guess Tuo Jiaxi had the better sum of defeated opponents.
Yep, that's right. And
Right.
Shaker just, I mean, Shaker, like if you recall, 2 rounds ago, Shaker was 2 wins ahead
Ahead.
of
Right.
Tour. So all Shaker needed was 1 win out of maybe the last 3 rounds.
Last 2 rounds, yeah.
Yeah, that just didn't happen. Also, the podcast, the Chinese podcast from the famous Weiqi journalist also ripped into Shaker. But anyway, Fanting you didn't go easy. Just gave Shaker another drubbing. Apparently, Fanting you play a beautiful wedge move in the game.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll admit I didn't follow. I didn't follow this
yeah.
last
But
round.
yeah, but it was a very good move. I'll see if I can find it while I scroll through the rest of the I saw that move. It was actually quite striking visually. So
Right.
more picks. Not much going on this time. Maybe like head pit. Like I believe these are the players
Oh
that
yeah,
that
these
should
are
qualify.
the 6
Yeah, that's
team
Tor.
members. So Lee Swan Hao made the team.
Yeah, Nishan Hao made the
Pretty good.
team. He's done pretty
Yeah.
well. And
He
of
was probably
course,
the biggest surprise.
yeah, no, but pretty strong, But I
Well, I mean, it
guess,
was always going to be a strong team.
yeah, but think how not making it was probably the biggest surprise.
Miyu Ting is also a bit of a shock.
Yeah, me Ting, he does have consistency issues, so I'm not that surprised by that. And shall we just have a quick look at this clip?
围棋的五冠王，
Now
围棋的五冠王。
this
Oh,
is
so,
this is
so to
KJ.
describe this clip to people who are listening.
Well, yeah. This clip is basically Let me just stop the clip. Basically, it's a Chinese variety show, and the variety show host was like, "Oh, we're gonna meet someone who's won 5 international titles in Weiqi," and the music plays. That's what you hear now. And when the music was playing, this is a montage of someone whose face you cannot see,
Right.
dressed in a very nice suit and in a nice shoes, and just walking towards the room that they're sitting in, and there was a montage of it, and eventually the person comes into focus, and it was revealed to be Kerje,
But look at they always do this. They open the door and then it
Yeah.
cuts to the host,
Yeah.
and then they go to an ad break, and then they open the door. They open the door 3 times.
Yeah, and you can see this what is this aura coming out of
Oh
Kerje.
yeah, he's just
Yeah.
glowing. Special
Now,
effects.
I have to say, I tried to watch the rest of the show, but I only for this post I only clipped this short clip, but I tried to watch the rest of the show. It was just embarrassing for Kerje. It really was. Like
It was it embarrassing in that the host and the show didn't know anything about Weiqi and
No, I think they were reasonably knowledgeable. I mean, they obviously didn't go into any depth and stuff. But I tell you what was always so embarrassing about KJ. Like for people, hopefully there will be like a subtitle in English or something, so more people can enjoy it. So shall we say? So this is what happens. The show was it's like a knowledge show. So each participant would like say something that's like a knowledge, a new knowledge kind of thing, and other people might just rate it for how interesting that is and give them points. That's the concept of the show, right? So this lady comes on, and she starts saying, "Oh, okay." The theme of this particular episode was Chinese New Year, So she was like, oh, in ancient China, Chinese New Year is when they mate, when humans mate, because men are usually working the field and women are usually busy some other stuff and during the rest of the year. So the New Year is when they come together and spend some time mating. And then Kerje was like, that's the stupidest thing. That's the most stupid thing I've ever heard. Or something crazy. That's so stupid. And something along those lines. It's just really cringy. People should watch it if you can.
So actually, Ko-Jae was the one who was being embarrassing.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, not anyone else. That's quite crazy. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, no, it's really bad. I don't recommend anyone watching it. It's just very cringy.
Maybe we should try and find the clip and post it.
Actually, now that you mention it, maybe I should. I really should do it. Just to check it out what happened.
Yeah, maybe we can put it on another Baduk subreddit.
Yeah, the other one. Okay, this is the Fanting Yu versus Kerji game that we talked about. So at this point, Shaker is black, so this black group is pretty much half.
Fanting Yu versus Shaker.
Yeah, half gone, and then Shaker decided to play some unreasonable stuff. Basically, if you look at here, like Fanting Yu's white three white stone here is dead basically, and he's just trying to get into the middle and just trying to play something unreasonable. And this is when Fanting Yu played a beautiful move that was also recommended by Fine Art. This wedge here. Apparently this wedge here prevented black from gaining too much stuff, so black couldn't really get out. And rescue these stones, and black still couldn't do that. But apparently this wedge is the best move in this situation.
Tetsuji.
Yeah, Tetsuji. Very nice. And LG Cup Japan update. Shibano Toramaru in Yujangchi.
LG Cup Japan qualifiers.
Wow. Yes, well, there's two bits of news.
So how many spots did Japan have in the LG Cup?
They have 2 seed spots. So Shibano Toramaru and Yujangchi got that. Earlier in the week.
They only have 3 spots?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Right.
I mean, it's
they do. They only have 3 spots, and 2 of them are okay.
Yeah. Or as mentioned in the post, that Shibano and Yu Zhengqi got those 2 spots. And there are 4 players: Onishi Ryohei, Sada Atsushi, Koke Yoshihiro, and Yu Fukuoka Kotaro. They will play in a single elimination tournament to determine the last qualification spot. So
let's discuss this, because it's obvious that Shibano and Yu Zhengqi, as good as they are, are not the top 2 players in Japan.
Well, you would say it's Ayama and Ichiriki.
You would say that, and furthermore, neither Shibano nor Yu Zhengqi currently hold a major title.
No.
Ayama and Ichiriki, the reason why they're not selected, I believe, is because the game 3 of the Honinbo title match is on the same time as the round of 16 LG Cup.
Yeah.
And obviously Ayama and Ichiriki are both competing in the Honinbo title match.
Yeah.
Now, it appears, I think that Japan is the only major country that doesn't prioritize the international majors above their domestic tournaments when it comes to scheduling. Yeah. Because these clashes have happened before in the past.
Yeah.
And
often. Yeah.
Often. And I mean, for many, many years, Ayama has been the number 1 player in Japan, and he doesn't compete in every international major. In fact, last year he didn't enter either the LG Cup or the Samsung Cup, presumably for scheduling clashes.
Yeah.
And often he won't enter majors. I believe I think I looked this up, and I believe Shinjin So has actually entered the same number of international majors as Iyama. And
Right.
Iyama's 10 years older than Shinjin So.
Yeah, that's not right, is it?
And it just feels that I, as a fan, as someone who's particularly passionate about the international majors,
Yeah.
I'd prefer to see the best Japanese players compete.
Yeah.
Obviously, I think it's widely agreed that Japan is a little bit behind China and Korea in
Yeah.
terms of the elite level of Weiqi, Baduk.
I mean, it's not elite. It's kind of the elite of the elite level because
Yeah, the
obviously,
elite, the top of the top. I
Yeah.
mean, Japan typically provide their best team for the Maxim Cup, and they haven't won that in I think 15 years.
well, okay, recently they just came out, managed to not come last.
They just recently managed to not come last. So
Yeah.
so it's fairly agreed upon that Japan are probably slightly behind Korea and China already.
Yeah.
And obviously, as you mentioned, Cho Yu was the last Japanese winner of an international major. That was in 2005.
Yeah.
It just doesn't help that they don't even provide their best players
No.
to the international majors.
No.
I mean, the fact that they are so good is what's preventing them
Yeah.
from playing in the international majors.
Yeah. I mean, you make a great point there. You know, the better you are, the more likely you are to miss out.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
And it's for someone like me, like I Iyama hasn't done well recently in terms of the international majors, the individual competitions. He hasn't done well the
Yeah.
past few years. But I really think that if he competed in every major that there was since
Yeah.
he like became the top Japanese player,
Yeah.
he may have actually won one.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I would expect that as well. But
yeah, the thing is that he just doesn't get
the
that
chance-
opportunity.
Yeah.
He did play in the Chunlan Cup this year. He did enter the Chunlan Cup. He
Yeah.
didn't do well. He lost to Kim Ji-sok
Yeah.
in the first round.
Yeah.
But I mean, good players will still lose in the first round. Like Ko Jae just lost in the first round of the Samsung Cup, also
Yeah.
to Kim Ji-sok.
Yeah.
And no one's saying that Ko Jae is washed up or isn't good enough
Yeah.
to win a major. I just want to see. I just prefer to see Iyama compete in every major.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, it's not going to happen, but hopefully that will happen.
It's not gonna happen. But you look at these players, Shibano and Yujin Chi.
Yeah.
I don't have confidence that either of them will make the semifinals.
No.
For instance.
Not really. But okay, interestingly, a title holder missed out. Seki Kotaro. He's not.
Yeah, Seki Kataro must have been in the
Yeah.
Was he in the youth qualification campaign?
No, I don't think so.
So actually he didn't even get selected for the qualifiers.
No, I don't really know what happened there. Why
Yeah, I don't understand that. And also Xu Xiaowan.
Right.
I don't know how to pronounce his name. Sorry.
Yeah.
But he's the Judan title holder. He's not in the qualifiers either.
Yeah. Xu Chaoyuan. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and
I
I
don't
would
Put him
rank
above.
I would put him above Shibano and Yu Zhenji. I'd put him as
Yeah.
number 3.
Yeah,
Japan.
he's definitely rated higher than both of these.
And he's not even in the qualifiers, and I can't figure out why. I've looked at his schedule; he doesn't have any schedule clashes.
Yeah, well, it's all a mystery. I mean, these reports aren't very clear on those things. But let's Well,
I would.
guys, think
I
nothing
will
can
say
do.
of the 4 qualifiers, I'd actually like to see Fukuoka
Yeah.
qualify the youth.
Yeah. Oh
Um,
yeah.
He's I just give him a shot.
Oh,
Why
might as well.
why not? Yeah,
Yeah.
he did make the Kisei League C
Right.
the last Kisei League C.
Yeah.
Um, so you know he's won some big games, and
Yeah.
or other than that, if not him, then Sada at Sushi, because obviously he made the round of
Second
16
round.
in the
Yeah.
Jingnan Cup, beat
Yeah.
Mi Yuting.
Me Ting.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I'd be more than happy to see him
Yeah.
in another world major.
Yeah. Let's see how he does.
Yep.
Moving on. Taiwan qualification. Basically, as you would expect, Xu Haohong and Wang Yuanjun
Yeah,
fight
they're
it out
the
for
undisputed top two
yeah
players of
5 and
Taiwan.
3 titles. We'll see them a bit later on actually again.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Women's League 12, so still not much differentiation, but except Zhou Hongyu is powered up into the rankings. Li
Yeah.
He and then Wu Yiming is,
So
you know,
Wu
still
Ming must have lost her last 2 or 3 games
yeah,
by
so
now.
she's still on 14 points. So you see what happened to her.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I just added because every time I find a new picture, I just add it. This is Sumire
Yeah.
rinsing. Taiwan, or sometimes referred to as Republics of China. Of course, in the Asian Games and in Olympics, they're referred to as Chinese Taipei. Yeah, Chinese Taipei. That used to confuse the hell out of me when I was a youth. I was like, "What's Chinese Taipei?" But all right. Okay, Asian Games. So yeah, Asian Games. They determined their team. Xu Haohong, Wang Yuanjun, Lin Junyan, Lai Junfu. We already met some of these guys in the Weiqi Cup qualification. Chen Siyuan is an interesting one. I believe Chen used to study in Korea.
Right.
But he's, of course, came back to Taiwan to play. And Su Chaoyuan.
And why is that one interesting? Why is Xu Chaoyuan an interesting selection?
Usually he's considered a Japanese player, but of course
he plays in the Nihon Kiin.
yeah, he plays in the
He
Nihon
plays in
Kiin.
the Japanese domestic. He's currently a domestic title holder for Japan.
Yes, in Japan. But of course, by nationality, he could still be a Republic of China citizen, so a Taiwan citizen. So that's why he's in the
And
team.
so now he'll be playing against Japan.
Possibly in the I don't know how to.
I'd imagine it's a round robin, but he's probably going to be playing against Japan.
No,
The players that he usually plays against.
Yeah. Oh yeah. For Taiwan.
But this time as in an international tournament.
And for the women's team is Lu Yihua. We met her again.
Yep.
Yang Zixuan. I believe she's quite strong in Taiwan. Bai Yinhui. I believe Bai actually beat a famous Taiwanese player Yu Li Jun to make it, I think. And Hei Jia, I believe Hei Jia was the wild card, Joanne Missingham.
There are a couple of surprises there. One, that Yu Li Jun didn't qualify. She was perhaps number one in Taiwan,
right.
The number one woman in Taiwan last year.
Right.
She was at the least the Senko Cup representative for Taiwan last year.
Yeah.
I'm also unsure about Ji Yimin's status. Like Su Xiaowan, Ji Yimin is originally Taiwanese but plays in Japan.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if she represented Taiwan at the last Asian Games.
Oh, I do recall. I don't remember actually. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't remember. I'll try and look it up now.
Yeah. But Hei Jia or Joanne Missingham definitely represented Taiwan last time. I believe they even got a medal. Might have even gotten a medal in the Peko, possibly.
Let's see. So women's team. Yep, Ji Yimin and Hei Jia were both in the Chinese Taipei team.
Right.
They won the bronze medal.
Yeah.
In the women's team.
Right.
They didn't. They came. Hei Jia and Zhou Chunjun.
Yeah.
Who are both in that picture there. They came fourth in the mix.
Okay. I see.
In the Pego.
Okay, I see. I probably remembered something wrong.
But I will say, the other surprise here is Hei Jia being selected as a wild card.
Yeah.
I'm unsure if she. I haven't seen the qualifiers at all,
Yeah.
but if she didn't enter the qualifiers,
Yeah.
I don't think she should receive a wild card.
And why is that?
I believe that to receive a wild card, you have to at least try to qualify.
Right.
I think that it's unfair to the other players.
Yeah.
Who are fighting for a spot.
Yeah.
Like for instance, say as an example, Park Chun-wan let's just assume that Korea didn't have that many automatic LG Cup spots, and Park Chun-wan, only Shin Jin-so was an automatic seed. What if Park Chun-wan, who's the undisputed number 2 in Korea, just decided to not play in the qualifiers? I wouldn't give him a wild card.
Right.
I would say at least try to qualify.
Yeah.
And if you don't,
we'll consider you.
Yeah, you'll probably get the wild card, but at least try, at least make the effort. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
But who knows? She may have entered the qualifiers, but I'm not entirely sure, because I do know that there are a lot of events that she doesn't participate in.
Yeah. Yeah. So I tend to agree. Absolutely no idea what happened there. It's a bit of a shame.
I'm also, because of her seemingly, not playing every event, I'm just a little bit surprised that she was even considered for this. Like, I remember she was selected. Was she selected for the Samsung Cup? Oh no, she was selected for the she was selected for the Goseigen World Championship last year.
Yeah. Oh, she was given a wild card, I believe.
Yeah, she was given a wild card. I just think, she already got the wild card for that.
Yeah.
She shouldn't. I don't think she deserves to get too many wild cards, considering how often she seems to not play.
Yeah.
But I say this. I also say this as a huge Hey Jar Jar fan, because I'm an Australian.
Yeah.
And she's the only professional that has sort of connections to Australia, really.
Yeah.
So I do like to see her play, and I like to see her win and stuff. But I'm trying to be. I think realistically, I think that it's a bit strange she's receiving so many wild cards for how little she plays.
Yeah. I tend to agree. I think she's not. Sometimes you just don't know what's happened behind the scenes. Maybe
especially in Taiwan, I don't really know what's happening behind the scenes.
Maybe so other people were offered and they just declined. Ended up she's kind of the best player or something. I don't know. Really don't happen. But okay, another news from Taiwan. The third Mingyuan champion.
Yep.
Final is the best of 7. Xu Haohong won 4-0 basically. Last game versus Lin Junyan. So this is the screen capture. So this is the Xu Haohong's second consecutive win of Mingyuan, the biggest prize money title in Taiwan. So he remains a 5 title holder in Taiwan. So that's that.
Very impressive.
Very impressive. Yeah. Also, Taiwan's only J League player. Korean LG Cup prelim picks. So we have the Hungarian player here in the picture, Diana. Lee Chang-ho
legends there,
and Choi Jung playing the quarterfinals.
They didn't play each other, by the way.
No, they didn't. They just put the 2 most famous players in the same picture. But
one thing to point out here is that the qualifiers are played
face to face.
Face to face.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that will become important very, very soon.
Yeah. One thing I do want to mention is the Samsung Cup last year, the qualifiers were played online.
Yeah.
And it wasn't because of distance, because they were actually playing in the same room.
Right.
They were playing each other in the same room. But I felt that they were doing that because the Samsung Cup itself would be played online.
Yeah.
So the qualifiers, sort of the environment should be the same. That was just my assumption. They even played the final, which was between Shin Jin-so and Park Chun-wan, 2 Koreans.
Yeah.
Was also played online.
Yeah.
They were playing like 2 meters away from each other.
Yeah.
But obviously here, the LG, as you saw from those pictures, the LG Cup, the qualifiers are being played face to face. even though the LG Cup is almost certainly going to still be played online.
Yeah.
So I just found that interesting, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's okay. Well, the penultimate round of the Asian Games, Chinese selection for the women.
Yep. So this is important.
Ming, if you recall, was on 14 points. She's still on 14 points. One round later.
So that's not good.
Zhou Hongyu powered ahead, but Yu Jing basically qualified. But Zhou is on 8 wins out of 13.
And
But,
importantly, this last round here, the last round is Woohyung versus Loom Minchuan.
Yeah.
And Li He versus Zhou Hongyu.
Right. So yeah.
So whoever wins between Li He and Zhou Hongyu is going to be on 18 points.
Yeah. So secure.
And then Wu Yiming obviously needs to win.
Yep.
Which will have which will be a 3-way tie.
Yeah.
For third on 16 points. That's if Wu Yiming wins.
Yeah.
And from there, it's down to tiebreakers.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. So that's the penultimate round. And some more stuff from Korea LG Cup qualification.
Yeah, so this was yesterday. The LG Cup qualifiers, so round 2. So this is the round of 16.
Yeah. And the biggest news I'd say is Kim Eun-ji beating Han Sang-hyun.
So let's address the elephant in the room here.
Yeah.
Why is Kim Eun-ji is notable for being a very young, very promising player with a lot of potential.
Yeah.
A bit like Sumira.
Yeah.
In Japan.
Yeah.
Why else is she notable?
Well, she was banned recently for 1 year.
So she was banned in, I think, November 2020.
Yeah.
Because in an online tournament, so not an official tournament, but a tournament, I believe, with prize money.
Right.
She cheated by using AI.
Yes.
It's including, and I think the most infamous game was against Lee Young-kyu.
Right. Yep.
Who I think was in the top 15 of Korea at the time.
Yeah.
And is also one of the coaches of the Korean national team.
Yeah.
She won against Lee Young-kyu, and I believe they looked at the game and they found it was like a 98% match.
Right.
With the AI.
Yeah.
They interrogated her over it, and eventually she confessed and got banned for a year.
Yep.
Here, so let's address the elephant in the room. Here, Han Sang-hyun is a top 30 player.
Yeah.
Kim Yoon-ji is not even in the top 150. She's still not in the top 150.
No.
And she beats him. Admittedly, there's no question that this was a fairly played game because this was face-to-face.
Face-to-face, yes.
And they have all this AI screening and everything like that.
Yeah.
But that sort of black mark over her, like that's going to plague her until she gets into like the top 50.
Yeah.
Every time she beats,
a top
30 player.
Yeah.
The
it
memories of her being banned for that cheating is going to
it evokes that memory. Yes. And the thing is, Han Sang-hyun is notable because he was also an international title finalist. He was once considered the strongest one dan.
So he made an international title at one dan.
He made, I believe how it went was he on his journey to becoming the finalist, he was one dan. But by the time he got to the final, and I believe he played Lee Sato in the final, he was already 2 dan. So, yeah.
Oh, according to Sensei's library, he was promoted to 2 dan for reaching the final of the LG Cup.
Right. So, so by the time he started the final...
So, technically, when he technically won his semi-final as a 1 dan.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's how, and he beat Guli along the way. And back then, Guli and Lee Sato were considered basically top 1 and 2 in the world. So, it's, which is crazy, his achievement there. But he kind of just fell off since then. Like, he hasn't
Well,
done very much.
he's still in Korea League.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if he's won any titles though.
yeah. I don't remember him doing anything other than that.
Mm.
Yeah, I think he got to the final, and then in the next international tournament, he also made that, and he played Ma Xiaochun in the first round, and he almost lost. He beat Ma Xiaochun by half a point, and by then Ma Xiaochun.
Ma Xiaochun's a strong player.
Yeah, but by that time Ma Xiaochun was like might be fully retired, but was given a wild card to come out and play for that one tournament. But
well, I just checked. Han Sang-hoon hasn't won a domestic title.
Right. Yeah.
And he made the final of the LG Cup as a one dan.
Yeah.
I'm a bit surprised by that.
It's crazy, huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's happened. I guess the other big news is our hero Lee Chang-ho is no longer. He lost to Choi Cho-han.
Two former In-Cup champions
playing with each other.
Yeah.
I believe Han Woo-jin, who got a wild card to play in the Weiqi Construction League, also out. Lee Chang-seok, Big Na-hyun, was
Lee
actually
Chang-seok is such a promising player.
Yeah. Choi Jung made it, but she will face Choi Cho-han in the next round.
Yep.
And
Kim Chae-young, I think, is the only other woman, who made it through to the third round.
Yeah.
She's number 3 ranked woman in Korea.
Yeah.
So
and so you being Chinese national team coach gave an interview. He was asked how satisfied were you with the Asian Games team for for China. He said he was very satisfied. So that's that.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's exciting.
A pretty inconsequential game in Kisei A-League. Probably not much to talk about.
I did go over this game today. The game was played yesterday, but I did go over it. It was a very close game.
Yeah.
Like it was a half-point game for like the last 50 or 60 moves. It was quite close, but as you say, it's still hard to gauge
what's happening. Yeah.
What's happening? We will eventually go over how the Kisei system works. Not this week, but soon enough.
Yeah. And this is a post where Hu Yaoyu just asked for help for his mother.
Right, we covered that.
We covered that, and her mother's doing quite well. Now in the Meijin League, this is a little bit important, so we kind of covered it very quickly.
Oh no, this is very important. Meijin League.
So Ichiki Ryo beat Yamashita Kaigo, and the head-to-head is actually favors Ichiki a lot.
This game lasted
12 hours.
Over 12 hours.
Yeah, that's crazy.
12 hours, and it was some pretty epic co-fighting.
Yeah.
If you look at the AI, Ryu was ahead for all of the co-fighting at the end, but it was interesting. Ryu sacrificed like a huge group to capture like an equally huge group. It probably gained like 2 points or something like that, but so many stones died.
It's crazy, and I think we talked about it before the Meijin League.
I mean, just look at the standings. There's 7 players on 1 or 2 losses.
Yeah, it's a lot. And in the top 4, Xu Chaoyuan, Yu Zhengqi, Chiriki, Shibano have roughly an equal chance, like fairly even chance of winning the league. So the league is very even. So they're on like 3 wins, 2 losses, 3 win, 2 losses, 3 win, 2 losses, and 3 win, 1 loss. Shibano has 1 game in hand, but it's a very close league.
This is going to be exciting.
And Ichiriki, by winning this game, just keeps the pressure on the other players. So all the other players have to win as well. So that's the importance of this game.
And these are 5-hour each games.
Yeah,
as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to spend too much time on the next item, which is Xie Rei, the famous.
You don't. This is a pretty.
All right, let's okay. We can do that. We can do this one, but
this is a pretty significant incident.
Yeah.
Can you give us a bit of a backstory?
Yeah. So what happened? This is a backstory. So this happened long time ago. So
this was in the 2010 Asian Games.
A 2010 Asian Game, or known as the Guangzhou Asian Games. So that was the first time the Asian Games, or actually any kind of major international sports event, I would say, where it featured Go or Weiqi as a
Right.
sport. And the Asian Games is basically like the Olympics, but only for Asian countries, right? So it's multi-sports, lots of sports being played. And back then, Park Jun-hwan was selected in the Korean team, and back then she was only 17. He was only 17 years old. He played in Pego. His partner was Lee Sula, and apparently, I believe the game was against China, one of the prelim games. So Park Jun-hwan's team was losing badly. Like they basically, normally in a pro game, that's the point where you kind of resign, and he's probably potentially have gone way past the point of resignation. Like he was losing so badly that he just kept on playing. And the interesting thing was, the Asian Games time control was basically no Bayomi, no Fisher, just a set
It
amount
was
of time
just
for
absolute time. There was
absolute
no
time for
increment.
with no increment for. So I guess in that situation, when
It's
the time,
possible to win on time then.
yeah, basically that. And okay, that was the background. But in this particular podcast, Xie Rui, he's basically probably the most senior Chinese Weiqi reporter out there. He writes for the most popular sports weekly newspaper in China. So he, in his podcast, which focuses on Go and Shang-Chi and all that stuff, he came out and says he wants to clear Park Jun-hwan's name of the incident. Basically, the incident was Park Jun-hwan was losing so badly, and he started playing in his own territory. And some report says he started playing in the opponent's territory, whatever it may be. But Park Jun-hwan was normally you would consider him to have like lost, but he just kept playing, trying to win by time. That was the key part of the incident. But Xie Rui, he just came out and says, I want to clear Park Jun-hwan's name. There's a lot more to this story than what was reported back then, or a lot of the reports back then was actually not correct. And I actually, after listening to the podcast, I asked him, are you sure what you're saying is right? And Xie was adamant that he's right. And of course, this is like a third-hand kind of material, so we don't really know exactly what happened. I don't know, but
So just to be clear, it was initially reported.
Yeah.
Well, the first time I heard of this incident, it was reported that Park Chun-wan, in a dead loss position, played, ridiculously stupid moves simply for the sake of allowing the clock to
run down
for the opponent, because they have to keep making moves.
Yeah.
And then apparently, either a Chinese delegate had a discussion with Park Chun-wan, or a Chinese delegate had a discussion with a Korean delegate, who then had a word with Park Chun-wan, and after that happened, Park Chun-wan resigned.
Yes, that was
the story that I first heard.
Yeah, so that was a version I heard as well of something very similar. Anyway, now apparently, Xie Rui wanted to put another angle on this. He said, well, actually, there's a lot more backstory to this, because as you can imagine, normally in a professional Go tournament, Bayomi or some kind of time increment mechanism was kind of normal. So when they published the time control rules for the Asian Games, apparently Yang Jae-ho, who was, I believe, Korea Baduk's Association's general secretary or something, he was, he actually went to the Chinese Weiqi Association or the Asian Games organizing committee and asked them, hey, is this what's going on here with the time control? With this time control, does it mean that even in a dead loss position, the players can keep playing and force the other team into running out of time and still win the game? And apparently the response from the Chinese was that yes, that's perfectly within the rules to do it like that. Okay, so this, and it was, and Sierra was very critical of the Chinese response. He said the way they responded to the Korean was very foolish, right? So it's like,
Right.
obviously, I guess the common sense thing to say was that, well, yeah, technically it's the rules, but the referees can step in and stop the game at that time. That seems to be the more reasonable response. So I don't know what happened. Maybe Yang thought that, maybe the other nations will try to use this rule against the Koreans or whatever it may be. So apparently he then went back to Korea and he held a meeting with all the Korean athletes, and he said we should use his strategy called a time attack strategy. And I guess the idea of the strategy is that even if you're losing, you should keep playing. And especially if the other opponent is low on time, so you can kind of force them to lose on time. And it was a very strong directive from Yang. That's what I gathered from the podcast. That's what all the Korean athletes should follow. So that came directly from the top, and Park Jun-hwan,
Park Jun-hwan was also only 17 years old.
Oh yeah, he was only 17. So at the time, so when Park Jun-hwan got into the situation that we discussed earlier, where he was losing in a pair go, I believe what had happened was Park Jun-hwan maybe he was have these doubts and have this fight in his head whether he should do it. But at the time he was 17, he kind of just decided to follow Yang's instructions.
Right.
Which was to keep playing because the strategy was called time attack. And eventually the guilt got the better of him, or he felt that this is not the right thing to do, especially as a pro player, and eventually he, guilt or whatever it may be, the feelings got better of him, and he decided to ask the referee to he basically signaled to the referee that he will resign. So that kind of changes the story a little bit.
So that's what's now been reported, that he made up his own mind to resign eventually.
Yeah. Now, and this is this comes from a senior Chinese reporter, so I guess he has less incentives to try and cover it up for Park.
For any listeners, just to be clear, there's no game record of the game.
I'm not 100%
there's no
sure.
Kifu.
I'm not 100% sure about that.
At the very least, there's no game record of the moves being played inside. The bogus moves that were played at the end. I'm not aware of any record of the game.
No, I believe at some point I did try to find a Kifu, but I couldn't find it.
Yeah.
Okay, but I guess what this new report doesn't doubt is that actually some move like they're like kind of a bit bogus were played, right? That's still not in doubt, but it was really putting in doubt of the intentions of the players and really how they acted and etc. Yeah.
I will say, in my opinion, I don't think we're ever going to find out what actually happened.
Yeah.
I imagine that Park Chun-wan and Lee Seul-ah don't want to talk about it. Even if this is what actually happened, I don't think they would want to talk about it.
Right.
I'm looking at the Wikipedia page. The only game they lost in the preliminary stage was against Liu Jing and Tang Yi.
Yeah.
So that was probably their opponents.
Yeah.
And for the record, Park Chun-wan and Lee Seul-ah ended up winning the gold medal.
Right. Yeah.
So they did end up actually winning.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would be very surprised if I'd certainly say one of those two stories is probably right, but I'd be very surprised if we'll definitively find out which version is correct.
Yeah. I mean, as I said, this is fairly second or third hand kind of material.
Yeah.
The people who are directly involved are still very much alive, so theoretically,
still very much alive. But I mean, we're certainly not going to be able to ask them, and I'm not sure if any of them want to discuss it.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
but
importantly, Park Jun-won and Lee Seul-ah did lose that game, rightfully so.
yeah, yeah. So
So the right result in the end. But
yes, but yeah, it's really yeah what
hopefully
happened.
lessons learned.
Yeah,
Don't use absolute time.
yeah. Well, I don't know. So I think yeah, it's a tough one because
It's a tough one. I mean, in cup technically still uses absolute time.
yes, except you can buy time.
You can buy time to an extent,
Yes, yes.
but
Yeah,
yeah, I'll try not to have a time control that can be abused.
yeah. I think rules are there to kind of control that kind of things. But
Yeah.
okay, so that was that. But now to the conclusion of the Asian Games
Okay,
Chinese
so
women's
let's have a look
selection.
here. So
Conclusion.
Yu Ying was already through.
Yeah, she
Zhou
won.
Hongyu beat Li He.
Yes,
So Zhou Hongyu is through.
yes,
He's in the Asian Games team.
yeah,
And importantly, Wu Yiming beat Lu Mingchuan.
yes,
So that means that Wu Yiming, Lu Mingchuan, and Li He are all on 16.
yes.
And so what happens now?
Well, apparently, Lu Mingchuan and Li He just got more, some of defeated opponent's score. So Wu Yiming missed out.
So Wu Yiming, after that magical start,
Yeah, just couldn't sustain it.
just fell at well, she didn't fall at the final hurdle because she won her last game,
Yeah,
but she
just
just
fell
got
apart.
squeezed out by
Yeah,
the barest of margins.
yeah, and she is the youngest person on this 8-man list, and she is ranked in the top 4 in China, like just rightly, just by her like performance in recent years. So
Right.
so yeah, disappointment for her, I'm sure.
That's a shame.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Hopefully we won't need to wait another 12 years for the next
Yeah,
Asian Games with Weiqi in it, and she can
yeah.
compete with the next one.
Well, yeah, you never know, but yeah,
Yeah,
but
because just to be clear, the last 2010 was the last time that Weiqi was at the Asian Games.
Yeah.
So it's been a long time between drinks, but
yeah. So there, but I guess the silver lining is that if the reports are right, she does make the Hoban Cup, which is a Nongshim Cup style women's
and
tournament.
that would be, if that is true, then that's a very strong Hoban Cup team.
Yeah, it's very strong Hoban Cup. I'm not sure if I would swap any of the players. Lee He, of course, is very strong. So yeah, I think this is a very, very, very strong team. If anything, I might be tempted to swap Lee He for Nai Wei.
Yeah, I'd be tempted to do that as well.
Yeah, but yeah, it is what it is. But Nai Wei put in a really good performance, despite her age and the very tough schedule. She came 6th, so it's not bad at all. Not bad at all.
Yeah.
So that's an explosive conclusion. So this is the Chinese team.
Yeah. Can we have a look at the other image here?
The what?
So can you go to the scorecards?
These ones?
Yeah. So I believe the top one is Lu Mingchuan.
Yes.
And you see that second last number, 96?
Yeah.
That's her sum of defeated opponents.
Yeah.
So that's of all the games that she won, you add the score, the final score of your opponent, and that comes to 96.
Of the one that you defeated.
Of the ones that you defeated.
Yeah.
So, and if you win both games, you add their score twice.
Yeah, yeah. And
now Wu Yiming,
I think Wu Yiming would be
second last row.
Yeah, that's that one. 94.
Look at 94.
Oh, yeah.
And I just want to point out, I believe she beat Wang Chengxing twice.
Yeah.
And Lu Mingchuan only beat Wang Chengxing. Oh no, did Lu Ming? Oh no, actually they both beat Wang Chengxing twice, did they?
Yeah.
So but it's still like it was dependent on on your opponents. She was one win. Her defeated opponent scored one less win
Yeah.
than Lu Minchuan's defeated opponents.
Yeah. That's just pure unlucky, right?
That's crazy. They almost finished tied on
Yeah.
strength of defeated opponents as well.
So she just missed out. So
Yeah, narrowest of margins. But can we now go back to the images of the
yeah.
women? That is a very young image of Lee Hay, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, she's
That's that's probably a picture taken from the last Asian Games.
yeah. she
She looks a lot older now, but
yeah, definitely.
she's obviously still just as strong.
Yeah. Well, made the team, so that's pretty good.
Yeah.
More Korean qualifier news in LG Cup. Choi Jong defeated Choi Cho Han. Yes. That was the big news. Choi Cho Han, of course, the in.
So Choi Jong is now into the final four of
final
her group.
Four might be final four now. It's So she has to play Cho Han Seong soon, and she's actually favored, by the ratings. She's actually gonna do pretty well. And the other news was that Kim Eun-ji, after defeating Han San-hyun, couldn't really get past Moon Min-jung, which is considered the next big thing in Korea by a little bit.
Yeah. I think there was some other there was at least one other surprising result. I know that Kang Seung Min, he lost.
Yep.
He's rated he's number 28 in Korea, so that's a big one. Someone else lost in the top 30. I'm trying to find out who. What was it?
Yeah.
No, I can't find. Oh yeah, Hong Seong Ji. 19 in Korea. If you recall, Hong Seong Ji was the original Korean online cheater.
Oh. I do remember seeing his name.
He was the original Korean online cheater. He on Fox or Taijim or something like that. He would just one night he just played a lot of Chinese players and just used AI blatantly and was just destroying everyone. And he got, because it wasn't technically prohibited at the time, he didn't get banned.
Right.
But they did make a ruling afterwards that that's not cool. You can't do that.
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah, but he was the original, and I think he was in LG Cup last year.
Yeah.
Or maybe Samsung Cup last year. He's participates in a few major tournaments. He's in the Korean League, and he's also one of the regular commentators on Baduk TV.
Right.
So he often appears on Baduk TV. He's still number 19 in Korea, but yeah, he lost in the third round.
Yep.
But other than that, everyone else in the top 30 won. A lot of very strong players.
Yep.
Still there, and Choi Jong's also still there. Choi Jong has a very good appearance record at the LG Cup. Even and which is particularly impressive because when she was qualifying, it was integrated qualifiers.
Yeah.
So it wasn't segregated by country. Yep. And in one of the LG Cup, she beat Gu Zihao to qualify.
Yes, I remember that. That's quite crazy.
Yeah. LG Cup is kind of one of her things, and she's only 2 wins away now from qualifying for another one.
Yeah, and I don't know what happened. I pressed some buttons on my keyboard, and that LG Cup post was hidden now. But anyway, we'll
never mind.
We'll cover more of it next week. But I think just to close out this week.
Yep.
The last bit of news came through was that unfortunately Xu Haohong lost to Wang Yuanjun in the Taiwan LG Cup qualification. So
Yeah,
Xu
that's a
is out.
surprise.
It's a little bit of a surprise. I mean, you would expect Xu to win, but in a one-game situation, Wang could easily, beat Xu. It's not like Wang hasn't beaten Xu before in a title, multi-game kind of match. Wang holds 3 titles in Taiwan and Xu holds 5. So
Right.
it's a little bit of a surprise, but yeah, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. So that's it. So that was so Wang will be Taiwan's representative in this year's LG Cup.
So Taiwan LG Cup qualification has been determined. Japan has 1 spot
the
left.
qualification spot. China isn't determined.
Has China already been determined?
Yeah, remember Xu Yue won 4 games.
That's right. Yeah. That was last week. Yes.
Yeah.
And Korea should be determined next week.
Yeah. So Korea, the 7 players and the seeds are already determined. So just the 7 players and one wild card which hasn't been determined. It will be once Korea's done their qualification. So yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
so it's like I said, it has been a busy week.
Yeah.
Maybe not as busy as last week, but still a very, very busy week, especially in China.
Yeah.
Next week, at least for Korea, on the weekend, we'll have the playoffs between Celtrion and Taigem.
Yep.
Korean League playoffs. The final stages of the LG Cup qualification will happen. And there'll also be, I believe, the final round of the Asian Games Korean selection.
Yep.
Will take place.
Yeah.
It won't finish next week, but there'll be some games.
Yeah.
And we can discuss that. We can discuss that next week.
Yeah, for sure. And for those who may have noticed, there's a new calendar tab on Pro Weiqi. You can click on that, and you see a selection of pro games in a Google Calendar.
Yeah,
not all.
Yeah, but definitely the most important one. So if you are interested in following professional games and you want to see what's happening over the next few days, you can check out the calendar. And it'll definitely show you the biggest games.
Yeah, and I will say for me the next week the biggest one is the Chinese domestic comp. The Chuzhou Lanke Cup.
Absolutely, that's going to be the biggest event of the week for sure.
And it's going to be over in like a week as well. It's like a bang 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 bang, 5 rounds.
Oh, there's going to be so many games, so it's going to be another busy week next week.
Yeah. Well, that's been another good week, good wrap, and thanks, Gaza.
Thanks for having me again.
No worries, and I'm
It's
Shao
been
Dai.
fun.
And let's call it a week, call it a day.
Yeah.
All right, see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.